That is not. Hi. Hello. So it's me again. Um, we just appreciate the time that we have when we have it together, while we have each other to appreciate. Anyway, so I was just thinking, I did an ICC literally yesterday, right? And my order number was 1400. Today my order number is 2479. And then I was about to be like, wow, 1,079 people placed orders between yesterday and today. Like, no, I'm certainly not. So I don't know how we got here, even for 2 days. I, I doubt it. I doubt it. Anyway, because that would be like 500 orders in a day if that was 2 days. Anyway, today we're at 2479, which is interesting. So the four in the spirit remains a four. The one that was in whatever beyond spirit, literally, it was yesterday, but it has stabilized itself at a two, and now the mind is at a seven, and the body is at a nine. Now the body was at the 909 before, however many days ago. So within this week, it's gone 909, 1400, 2479. Also, when I was looking for cards, I found my Mystical Shaman Oracle deck that I thought was in storage this whole time. Like I tried to use it one day and I had the book out because I just used the book and got a random number. And I was looking for cards and it was under the good tarot that I got from Rob. I was like, what? It was right here. And even yesterday I went to the Elemental Oracle because I was like, oh, I don't have my Mystical Shaman. And here it is right here. Also, before I went live, I've had the Scentbird subscription for a minute now, and I don't really like. I have the few that I like, and I don't really try new ones. So I've just been like stockpiling them. And the other night, my brother asked me if I had any cologne, and I was like, no, but I got a whole bunch of Scentbirds. So we went through them, and I ended up giving them to him. And I found another one, and I was gonna give it to him before the live, but when I opened it and like smelled it, I was like, oh no, I like this. This is mine. Plus, we kind of have different preferences. I think he likes a stronger, more whatever, and I like subtler, more um, almost neutral, like not super like sandalwood and not like business professional smelling colognes to me. I like subtle, almost with like hints of like something sweet or like fruity or whatever. Um, and then I smelled it and I was like, oh no. And then I was like, well, what is it called? And it's literally called Moon Bear. So I'm gonna pull before and after the moon, and I'm gonna pull before and after the bear. Obviously, I wanted to do because last time the Power and Authority of Fire came out, and I wanted to pull before and after the Power and Authority of Fire, Earth, Air, and Water, and the Revelations edition because in the Revelations edition they're the Power and Authority, but in the Vitruvian edition, sorry, in the Vitruvian edition the Queens are the Power and Authority, but in the Revelations edition they are Sanctums. So I guess you see what they guard. Um, so I was gonna pull before and after, and then pull before and after again in the other deck. And then this moon bear thing happened. So I wonder if, see, moon bear, and it's like purple. I think that's like a purple, right? It's like a deep purple. I don't know if it'll translate on camera, but it's like this deep purple that I love. So I was gonna give it to my brother Trey, right? And I was like, Moon Bear. And then I was like thinking about it after I came back in, and I was thinking about how I'm going to pull before and after the moon and before and after the bear. Then I remembered that one of my college friends, who our friendship is like primarily on the internet, like somehow we connected after I think he graduated or in like his last semester. And we had like mutual friends and everything. Um, but we've never met in person. Um, yeah, I like that. But we've never met in person. Anyway, he has a Twitch channel, and his Twitch channel is Moon Bear, and his name is also Trey. And I was like, wow, I was about to give Moon Bear to one Trey, and then I decided I liked it and changed my mind. And then the other one has a channel titled Moon Bear. And I was like, whoa. So that too, it's almost like this little closed bubble. I don't know. And then Queen Cup just went live talking about the dark moon. And I guess the dark moon is what happens when you have two new moons in the same month. And I was thinking before about the abyss that's been coming out, but back to Scorpio season, where I think we had the full moon Taurus lunar eclipse. I'm pretty sure it was a full moon Taurus lunar eclipse and a new moon Leo solar eclipse. I'm fairly certain. I could be wrong. Excuse me. Anyway, but in that, there was something in Scorpio season that was deeply connected to whatever was in the abyss. And there was something getting lighter, and something from the abyss was like coming to the surface. And it was this light that came from the depths of the water, which is also interesting because was it Sagittarius season? Towards the end of Sagittarius season into Capricorn season, where it was like it's important for something to come in through the dark, in the dark, like from the abyss, it's rising. And then there was like the false light on the full moon Gemini. Because the light, like if you see light on the surface of water, you would assume that there is above the surface some kind of light that is reflecting on the surface, but in reality it was coming from the depths. Anyway, so that was interesting. I don't know. I'm like stuff like this, I'm like anyway, that's the ICC today. So 7 is very like, it's a very spiritual number in my, because I'm not the most numerologically savvy. So how I like to imagine the 7 is there's a certain almost mundane knowing. There's a comfortability of mundane knowing that we get at the 6 that allows us to navigate pretty reliably. But at the 7, we sort of experience or witness something that defies everything that we believe up until that point, which is why it can be so deeply spiritual. And it's almost like the things that motivate the things, the subtle or subconscious that has influence over the material, obvious, concrete, less abstract, conscious. And so at the 7, again, it's like you can have an understanding of things not on the surface, but like as they present, and not necessarily know what motivates it. At the 7 is the beginnings of that understanding of what motivates it. It's proficient or gaining proficiency at the 8, and then at the 9, it's as the 6 was in the mundane, and then up to a level of mastery. Anyway, mind is at the 7. Again, the mind and the just like wide open, not obstructing anything. Yesterday, when the 4 stability within the soul called in the 1 or led towards the 1. Now that the 1 is the 2, the mind is opening in ways that it didn't necessarily before, and the body, almost with the body being at a 9, now it almost feels like, as opposed to the 909, which was like a completion in both where the mind isn't getting in the way. It's not that the body, it almost gives an energy where it's like the body is at its limit, but not necessarily in a bad way, if that makes sense. Like if you overtax the body, then it'll break down or start to fall apart. It's almost like it's like at capacity, but it could be running in a very like efficient way. You know what I mean? If that makes sense anyway. So I guess we're gonna do And then I grabbed all of my Angelariums. So I had the Angelarium Year 2, the Angelarium Oracle of Emanations, and the Angelarium Oracle of the Fallen. I just think it would be interesting if like the same angel came out in all three. You know what I mean? Anyway, I feel like I'm like extra hyped today. um, and then I pulled the Archeo because I wanted to use the Archeo. I wanted to work with archetypes, but not use the wild unknown archetypes. And it's obviously nothing against the wild unknown archetypes, just going for a different vibe today. And I also have the Fable Makers. I don't know if I'm going to use it though. Like it would be easy. And I feel like that's something that almost differentiates the ICC 909 to 1400. I'm pretty sure it was that of yesterday, where the child of the king and the queen didn't have to like prove themselves to whatever the authority governing ruling body of fire looks like. It's because of the conditions of their birth that they like naturally had that power and authority, right? Which I tried to communicate. Like it's that was the whole like it's not a ritual or a manifestation or a candle or an alignment or a this or that. It's purely innate within this person. That's why it was primal to primordial, because it's so innate within that person. So if there is that same innateness, then there would be no challenge or trial, right? If one gains that, then there may be. Cool. So there's no more fuss and there's no more scenes in my garden. You should see my nectarines. And I'm telling you this time, I tell kings and queens. Kings and queens. Okay, there we go. There's a little bit of it. That again, this is just where my brain is. There's this like super tight moon bear tray. Trey could also be like three. It's a nickname often given to the third of their line. Speaking of the children of kings and queens, so it could be the third, a third generation. Also, I wasn't gonna say anything, but I caught it after the fact when I was like inactive 2025. The first card that came out was the Eight of Pentacles. In astrological timing, pentacles can symbolize years. And from 2018 to 2025, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 was the seventh. 25 would be the eighth, completing the seventh labor before the eighth is presented. I was like, oh, lol. Yeah. So, anyway, yeah, I'm extra rambly today. Maybe it's like I'm trying to get out a whole, I don't know how long. I mean, the plan, we'll see. Things come and go and come and go. Again, I think yesterday I called it like a F around and find out season. More so than that, it feels like it's a time where whatever we've learned is going to support us. And so, in that way, it may not necessarily be to, in my opinion, from my perspective, and my perspective informs how, when, and if I choose to engage. It's not necessarily a time to try to like. It's like it's not a time for the external or an outside perspective to necessarily like inform or guide us, because it's about the internal, if that makes sense. Anyway, so yeah. I'm almost at iced coffee and I ain't even pulled a card yet. Okay, so. First of all, I'm gonna get a card from the Mystical Shaman before we even do the Moon Bear. Journey was, I guess, the final card last time. Um, I'm gonna get a final card, and we're gonna see. Or not a final card. We're gonna get a card because I've been looking for this deck, and I didn't think I had it. Oh. Journey, Luminous Warrior, Heart of the Sky, and Wind were the final four cards. Interesting. Like, I don't know, like, where have you been? Because I looked for this deck. I thought I looked for the deck. Apparently, I didn't look good enough. Oh, Upper World at the cut with the Witness. This is so interesting. Why is it interesting? It's interesting because this Upper World and Witness, not obviously, it's giving me the energy of whatever fragment piece part of divinity was putting in the final piece in the completion of the Oshos and Tarot, which I meant to grab. Um, I can still grab it. I will. I will grab it. And I'll do that with the power and authority. It's partly that, but it also feels like someone has been moving in the upper world. Could be through dreams, manifestation, meditation. Especially like especially like manifestation actualization, because that can evolve so much, like intention. It's intention. Um, but as it's almost like as someone's intentions have been aligning stuff or attempting to align things, there's been a witness in the upper world that's not been monitoring like intentions and how someone goes about like moving things up there. Watching, I guess. Noticing. Oof. But the thing is, when you move stuff in the upper world, your heart is like wide open, and your mind, your whole self is wide open. Um, in a way where it's almost like sometimes like we wish for, pray for, manifest, whatever things. Again, going back to the Five of Pentacles from yesterday, it's like the heart or the mind is can be very like grimy almost. And to be in the upper world, like that's something that you notice, I'm assuming. Because it's just like wide open, you know? It's almost like for people who claim to see, no, that's for people who I guess can see the motivations and intentions behind why people do what they do. Like on the surface, it may be like, oh, this person is like donating or they're doing this and they're doing that. But if you can see their intentions and motivations, it's different when it's coming from a pure, genuine, caring place and when it's coming from a place of like something else that's kind of like, and then it's like, if they're doing good in the world, then like good for them. But also, it's like, you know, heart of the sky with the upper world. Maybe it's like instead of heart of the sky, it's like heart in the sky. And this is like someone's projection of themselves as they're like doing whatever they're doing in the upper world or manifesting or moving or whatever. Excuse me, and the eagle. Interesting. Okay, all right. Mystical Shaman Oracle. While you've been away and hiding from me when I went to look for you, like what's the energy? Where's this energy been? Let's say that. Clean flip or clean fall. Oh, that was a very clean fall, and it made like a lot of noise. It's almost like the edge of the card hit this thing. Oh, this is a lot of cards. This is 5 cards. I got the book too because I had to use it last time, so I actually pulled it out of the box. I opened up to Heart of the Sky. Yeah. I don't know. It's fine. The first card is Thunder, number 56. This is so interesting. Went to the gym today, and I was on the treadmill, and they had sports on like so many other screens. It was either sports or news, and I'm like, where is my like Marvel, Charms, Star Wars, because that'll play too. Didn't have a lot of options. But anyway, I saw 2 players on the same team, and it was number 11 and number 56. And I thought, oh, that's interesting because I usually see 1147. And I mentioned as much. I'm pretty sure the last time I was live because number 47 came out, I think. I know I mentioned it recently how I see 1147 almost more than I see 1111, depending. But anyway, I saw the 56 and it stood out to me because 56 was like here and number 11 was like in the background. This is also interesting. So I ended up rewatching a part of the live. I don't remember where I was, but I thought I heard thunder. And I was like, was that a rumble? And my mom was like, was that a what? I was like, she's like, did you say was that a rumble? I was like, yeah. She was like, no. But thunder is here. And then the curse. Thunder and the curse is interesting. This to me, it's an energy of the curse is like some kind of imposed silence. But whatever is supposed to be silent isn't. But it also can't be like heard. It's not that it can't be heard, it can't be interpreted or understood. It's either that or it's like on a TV show. I've seen it in a lot of like TV shows. In Korra, when she goes to the air temple, and I think Janora asked about Zuko's mom. It's like one of those things where like there's a character who has a secret or a name that you don't know, and whenever they try to like say their name or whenever they say the secret, there's like some loud noise, like a semi truck goes by or a bus or something falls. It's like that kind of energy. When whatever is spoken, the thunder is almost, it's partly either a distraction so that we don't hear what was spoken, or it's just how we hear it because we can't whatever. Next is the arrow. Oh, and it's number 3. Next is the arrow, which is interesting because I finished Dragon Age Veilguard, and there's a character that has a spoiler alert. You find out that the spoiler alerts aren't extinct, which may be whatever. But the name of the spoiler alert means arrow. And I have a nephew that like that's his name. It's spelled different. But it's interesting because I had a dream probably about a month ago now, that there was like a baby crying in the bathroom. And I texted my mom about it, and she was like, oh, maybe it was nephew because he was over here. And I was like, I know what he looks like. And in the dream, the baby looked different. Arrow, Taming the Wind, 55. And The staff, 51. We got 55, 56, 51. 3 and 14, sorry. What's the bottom of the deck? Bottom of the deck is the sun, number 53. Another one in the 50s. The arrow, taming the wind, and the staff. This is interesting. I feel like I need one more. The seer and the standstill, 52. Of course, it's another card in the 50s. So from Thunder and the Curse, it feels like there was something, and it's also interesting because the storm came out, the storm in the fault line. It feels like basically there's this lightning rod up in the sky that causes, it's almost like any charge that would be dissipated by the storm, because the lightning rod is in the sky, it doesn't dissipate. And so what happens is there's an area where it's like always storming. And again, it feels like it's just in case. On the side, that's like this loud noise that happens whenever the thing that's not supposed to be spoken is spoken, so that no one hears what's being said. The arrow taming the wind, it feels like it dislodges or breaks the staff that was in the sky, causing this perpetual thunderstorm. So that now, if the thing is spoken, that won't be the distraction. It can literally be anything else, but that won't be the distraction. And also taming the wind. The arrow has pierced, but there is. I've been wanting to use this deck, but I haven't. I've also been wanting to use one of these. I guess I'll go for this one. Isology and the Mirror Truth Lenormand. I'm just like pulling all the decks today. That's fine. Again, I feel like so chatty or rambly or whatever. Fail. There we go. Success. You know what that's from? Super Smash Brothers, I think. I'm pretty sure in like Break the Target, if you break all of them, it goes success. It reminds me of a card in the Diceology that is an arrow pierces the sky and parts the clouds or something like that, because that's like literally what this is. As this deck is, I am going to pull before and after, and then I guess I'll pull before and after the card in the Mirror Truth Lenormand, because that's what we're doing today. If there is a correspondence, I'm pretty sure there will be, but it may not be. Six of Diamonds. Here's a different one. A single blade cuts through the tempest, calming the winds, a dislodged hunk of cheese. And it's 51. It's got 51, 14, 11, 5, 1, and 3. 51 is the staff. The Six of Diamonds, when there was the challenge of receiving it, was the Six of Pentacles, which is the Six of Diamonds anyway. But like self-referential. Chain links, a divine codex, an arrow pierces the heavens and breaks the clouds. It should have been like parts. I feel like parts would have been more poetic. Oh, and it's the Ace of Diamonds, so we will get a Lenormand correspondence. Ace of Pentacles is the bread of life that came out to be received, just like the Archangel of Glory was presenting the wand to be received. That was probably like 2 or 3 lives ago. There you go. An arrow pierces the heavens and breaks the clouds. That's this energy. The arrow taming the wind, and again, it feels like all of the lightning was being. It's not that it was necessarily being generated by the staff, or again, if the staff was just a lightning rod that was put up there to keep the charge from like dissipating, right? It was a closed system. And then we have the closed loop of Trey the Moon Bear. That was, again, I told my mom about it because I was just like, that's so interesting. Like, before I took it back to his room and then I opened it, and he's in there playing the game. He didn't even see me come in. So when I smelled it, I just closed the door because I was like, I want this. It worked. But yeah, I was like, for it to be Moon Bear, and then I have a friend Trey who has a channel called Moon Bear again. That I don't know. Anyway, I don't know why I pulled before and after, because I'm gonna pull before and after the Ace of Diamonds. But I guess we can. I don't know if compare is the word. As this deck is. Oh, girl. She's an ace. Literally in the bottom of the deck, the Ace of Diamonds. And it's the sun. What was at the bottom of the deck over here before I started shuffling it? It was the sun. So there's no card before, but the card after is the tree, which is the Seven of Hearts. Oh my gosh. The Seven of Hearts was the card after the Ace of Diamonds. Right? What is this? The Seven of Hearts and the Ace of Diamonds. Moments like this I'm going to miss, you know? And I think the Jack of Diamonds might be the child. It may not be. It may not be. If it is, that'll be wild, because the child is at the bottom of the mystical shaman now. Jack of Hearts is the heart. Jack of Clubs is the rods or the whip. Jack of Diamonds is the scythe. Jack of Hearts is the child. The Jack of Hearts is the child. At the bottom of the deck now is the child. It was the sun before. Whoa, it's just like, it's wild. See, like stuff like this I miss, you know what I mean? Again, there's something so like synchronistically like just crazy. The sun and the tree. The tree is a favorable turn of fortune, a powerful message duly received. 17, 10, 10, 8, 5, and 1. Now, what's interesting is that on this tree, there's like this. I've never noticed this before. I've noticed like the snake S-shaped hourglass on it, but it's actually upside down. We have the roots at the top and the foliage at the bottom, where it's supposed to be like that, right? Because the roots are in the earth. But that's like on this part of the tree. If you look outside of that, the roots are in the ground and the foliage is at the top. I feel like that's almost giving me the 2 that the 1 has become. Oh, a turn, a favorable turn of fortune, and that's literally a turn. She's giving hourglass. The Jack of Diamonds is a full recognition of the self that has yet to be realized, being spurred into action, aligning the bodies. The sun provides nourishment for the tree, right? And I don't know. If you bonsai a tree, I'm sure you can get like a plant light. Oh yeah. Because at Q Gardens, they have trees. They have trees at Q. Excuse me. But that's not necessarily, that's more like a greenhouse. That's not necessarily like an artificial light. The question was like, how tall can a tree grow off of artificial light, or would it need the sun? But so going back to the Phaeton of yesterday, which is the chariot of the sun in the underworld, also going back to Scorpio season, that the light is in the abyss because there would have to be something to sustain the, because the leaves, the green is where the conversion of light into food happens. Like the chlorophyll is what does that. But it's where like under, it's above the soil here, but since it's like, the roots on top, it would theoretically be underground. And underground there is no sun to sustain that, but the sun in the abyss, the light in the abyss, which back in the day, it was the star card in the Wada non tarot for me. It was like this light. The star rests on a bed of light in the abyss in that deck. Also, the last I Ching was Dark in the Light. The last, yeah. Well, the last general one, because for Enact, it was Tongue Run. But well, I guess it was the energy of Dark in the Light with the flame, the mentor, and the river, I believe. I brought that up for a reason related to these cards. This is interesting. Maybe this isn't completely separate from what it is that I was attempting, what I thought I was going to do. It's already been like 40 minutes. Um, like the power and authority of fire, air, earth, and water. And I say that because of a full recognition of the self that has yet to be realized. A favorable turn of fortune, a powerful message duly received. It feels like that powerful message duly received goes back to the upper world and the witness. Again, because like we are constantly praying, manifesting. Hey, how you doing today? We're constantly praying, manifesting, trying to move things in the energetic, subtle, spiritual. This feels like a message that like we would have put out, that's been like received and acknowledged. I mean, you can receive a message and not do anything, right? Ask my mom. She was like, "You don't listen to me." I was like, "Yeah, I do." And she's like, "Well, if you listened, you would do what I said." And I was like, "That's not how listening works. Listening does not mean that I do what you tell me to do. It just means that I hear, I understand, I comprehend. But you're telling me I am listening. My actions in general, have no bearing on whether or not someone listened. Now, typically, you could argue if that were the case, like maybe someone didn't listen because, like, I told you to do this, and you didn't listen. Because if you listened, why would you have done that? Anyway. And this is a powerful message. I feel like that's such a weird. Maybe the curse was a message that we were trying to put out. I mean, it can work both ways. But for some reason, we weren't able to be heard because of the storm, because of the thunder specifically. And because of this, because the staff is in the sky, like the lightning from the storm could have never touched the ground. Because again, it feels like the staff is this lightning rod in the clouds that just it keeps the charge from dissipating. So you'll like it can arc, and when it arcs, you hear the thunder. But you hear thunder when it arcs, right? It's not just the sound of like lightning hitting the ground, right? Anyway. So that is wild. The fact that yeah, the Seven of Hearts and the Seven of Hearts, like literally right next to it. The son was at the bottom, and then the child was at the bottom, and the Jack of Diamonds is the child. Like there's okay. Again, I don't necessarily know what all this means, but she's consistent. She's self-referential. The synchronicity wisdom mundus. 54, because of course it's another card in the 50s. The Sweat Lodge. Bottom of the deck is the Sorcerer, number 48. The Sweat Lodge, the Sacrifice, Water and Fire, and then the Time Master. 57. We got 57, 54, 51, 55, 56. And also 44. 44 is the Sacrifice. The Sweat Lodge. First, I saw the Sweat Lodge in Fire, and I was like, but the Sweat Lodge is here with water and fire, which also makes sense. And there's that mirror between water and fire, but it's a mirror of inversion, right? 6119, 6119. So it's not whatever you call that. What would that be? The Y plane? I don't know. But we kind of sort of had something like that. No, but that was this flip. And I was talking about that's a 9, 8, 7, 54, 9, 44, 8, 61, 7. Oh, you see this? 57 is the Time Master. You see that? And again, she was giving Hourglass the Time Master. You flip the Hourglass. The Sweat Lodge is giving me a bubble of protection. It's like so many animes, anime, TV shows, video games. where there are like artifacts or some kind of magic, and there'll be like a bubble that either the bubble will like render the people inside invisible to people outside, or, and it's mostly this, the bubble makes it so that you can't eavesdrop. So you can like see the people inside of the bubble, but you can't hear what they're saying. But it almost feels like this would have happened inside of the storm. Almost like this would be the eye of the storm. And whatever is discussed or talked about here is like highly confidential. And so from the outside, all you would hear is the thunder. From the outside, all you would see is the storm. But you wouldn't see what's actually happening and going on the inside, which is the sacrifice, water, fire, time master energy. I could look before and after soul retrieval now if I wanted to. If I wanted to. Not that I do. See, this is the type of stuff that makes me want to like keep reading. This is like what I'm intrigued and excited about. Also, take it as it resonates. If it doesn't resonate, don't take it, and know truly what is for you. There is no greater disservice you can do to yourself. There are a lot of disservices that we can do to ourselves, but there are, we do ourselves a disservice when we force ourselves onto paths that aren't for us. Maybe part of it is like a learning opportunity, but ultimately, a lot of times it's not going to give us what we want or lead us to where we want to be. So, anyway, if it don't resonate, don't take it. Hello, patty cakes. So, if this is the storm, then the staff would be like at the center of the sweat lodge. And when you claim the staff, you claim whatever power. Just like the staff, the living staff in the Eight of Orbs Journeyman. And that's this like time master flipped hourglass. And the time master looks similar. There's a thematic similarity in the feathers. And it's like two feathers. You see these two here, those two there. I think we also see them on the sun card, actually. This is so interesting. And it feels like the butterfly is like, maybe it's a cocoon, maybe it's a calcified butterfly, like it had been turned to stone on its way in. But it's like whoever, whatever this symbolizes, it frees it from that cocoon or it frees it from the calcification and it emerges as this like butterfly. Now, that would obviously be something, not obviously, low hanging fruit, that would be something between the mind and the body. Because at the 1400, they stood as open vessels. And see, this is the 4-4. So between the 1400 and the 2479, that's like the four of the spirit in both instances. Okay. Wow. Synchronicity on synchronicity on synchronicity. I told y'all they be wild. This video was not sponsored by Dunkin' Donuts, but the iced coffee chronicles. The iced coffee never disappoints. So this is what the mystical shaman. Oh, it's fine. This is what the mystical shaman has been up to. While I thought it's been missing, and it's literally just been chilling in the deck under the good tarot. And in the good tarot, we see the butterfly on the Mother of Earth. Usually the butterfly is on the Queen of Swords, but on the Queen of Swords, it's the owl. And they came out one time. That was actually, we did some kind of check with the D20. And it was a DC 17 because 17 was like the star or something like that. That was our intuition was leading us and guiding us towards something that literally no other sense would. And I know I was in my apartment when that happened, so it was at least 6 months ago when I did that. I don't remember. I think it was this year. I think it was earlier this year, and I feel like it may have been around the moon cycle. It may not have been. I don't remember. But with the Queen of Swords, or the Mother of Air, or whatever she's called in that deck, it was like, it's, again, it wasn't that, like, it's not about transformation or a mind changing. It's about the application of wisdom, because the owl was there, or knowledge that was going to be maturing into wisdom. There was an opportunity for knowledge to mature into wisdom, a true wisdom, because the owl was there. And the butterfly on the Mother of Earth was like so small. That was the question of like, would we even notice it? And it was no. But our intuition would tell us that it was changing. But our intuition would tell us it was changing or whatever, like long before we saw anything. Oh, I should have just pulled it. But yeah, it was sitting right under the good tarot. I don't even know why I lifted it, but I did. And then I was like, is that my mystical shaman? It was right there. I'm just going to get the card to show you. Are we going to look before and after? No. No, 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 no. No, no, no. That'd be too much. There's enough cards on the table. I was actually going to try to do a few of these, but not now. I'm seeing like all the messengers before I see any of the other court cards. There's the king and the page. King, the Queen of Earth. And how she has like this tiny little butterfly right there. And it was like that one butterfly. Then the Queen of Air has an owl instead of the butterflies. There she is. Oh, the owl. See, it's kind of like in the blues too. She is giving upper world energy. That's probably why I had these decks together, but I never thought to look under this one. Apparently, we have the 8 of water, the 7 of air, the page of water, the 8 of earth, the 5 of water. Excuse me, those are the cards between the Queen of Earth and the Queen of Air. 8 of water, 7 of air, page of water, 8 of earth, and the 5 of water. 5, 8, page, 7, 8. Cool. Anyway. Goodness. See, but this is so interesting to me because the scale of these storms, it feels like the scale of these storms is like humongous. Like, honestly, this could be the storm from yesterday. Where it was like the storm, the fault line, the queen, the womb, and the king. And then we saw what the shapeshifter and the orphan, which was 15 and 5, and 51 is on the table. The 15 of the shapeshifter is the mirror of the 51 of the staff. That is so just interesting. Maybe it speaks, but that was a thing, right? Because it was no. Oh, I had it and then I lost it. Like it feels like this storm affects and impacts potentially other people, unless they just coincide. If they happen to coincide, then maybe it's more of a coincidence than one or the other. I don't. What with this? I'm so curious what the sacrifice would be. And then we have this balance of fire and water. Fire and water have there have been a few times where they've come out together. I mean, I guess in a case of coincidence, right? There could have been. So there's the storm, the thunder, and that which cannot, should not be spoken, right? Or that which we don't have the capacity to comprehend. And then there's this attempt made with arrow and taming the wind to pierce the heavens, break the clouds, dissipate the storm. And you find, again, still this staff that's at the center of it. But it's almost like when you get to the staff, and again, there's been a witness in the upper world this whole time. So as we've all been navigating the storms, more so emotionally, spiritually, energetically, but also physically, we've been witnessed. And so you get to the staff to dissipate the storm. And if you're found worthy, it's almost like you're teleported into the sweat lodge. And in the sweat lodge, little moon bear, Trey moon bear the third, there's the sacrifice, water, fire, and the time master. Which is also the tree. The personal power, a full recognition of self that has yet to be realized. And then the sorcerer is here at the bottom. The wild woman is under the sorcerer. Take it as it resonates. What does this mean on the 3D? I mean, this could be any situation that was disruptive. right? And there could have been so many ways to dissipate or assuage or whatever to calm down this or to go around it. But like a direct approach led to someone coming out harder, better, faster, stronger on the other side. And it's because of the direct approach that there was something that they gained from the whole experience, interaction, whatever, that they can claim as personal power, or that they can be, that they are on track to claim as a personal power. And again, it's because like there's been a recognition, but not yet necessarily. Good, it's possible, obviously. There's a recognition, but it's not yet been realized. So this is what the mystical shaman's been up to. Oh, it was yesterday when the golden shield came out. The ivory shield was at the bottom of the deck, and it was power and authority of fire and the power and authority of water. And we have fire and water here between sacrifice and the time master in this sweat lodge bubble. Every element is mentioned here except for earth. We see the wind and taming the wind, or there's mention of the wind and taming the wind. And then we see fire and water. Maybe that just emphasizes that again, it's been in this like upper world, like between the it's energetic, emotional, spiritual, not necessarily earthly. And also the butterfly from sacrifice was on the messenger of earth, speaking to something that it may take a minute for it to be um, more fully realized on earth. Or yeah, we'll just go with that one. Cool. Well, this was not necessarily supposed to take this long, but that's cool. This is what's been going on in the background, which makes sense. For some reason, I feel like it makes sense. um, but like while all these storms have been happening, this is what's been going on. Within the storm is the sweat lodge. And it almost feels like a different dimension. Just because it's like outside of the storm, it's so one thing. Inside of the sweat lodge, it's so something else. Oh, I feel like this bird is significant. Maybe the bird sacrifices its feathers. And then here's Yankee Doodle coming out of the sweat lodge with a pot full of macaroni, right? Cool. I want a picture of this just in case. Just in case I want to refer to it or look at the numbers or whatever. See, when those 5 cards came out, I was like, oof. And I'm glad I took them. There was something came to my mind earlier. I lost it, but it made so much sense, almost in terms of how it was almost along the lines of like, I feel like the cogs are like almost turning. Almost along the lines of whatever the inheritance of this is, like it causes this storm. that affects the area around it. Rather than it being like happening more, that would be like the sweat lodge preceding the thunder rather than the sweat lodge and thunder almost happening simultaneously. I mean, either can be true, right? And that could be the way that we impact or influence each other, right? Let's say that someone has a revolutionary new idea and it has the capability to significantly impact, shift, whatever. Now they're going to need a team to do that. So there are people who are going to be in the storm with them. And so maybe the first person going through whatever caused a storm to sort of form, but then those who are connected to that person or who will be like entered the storm to claim their own staves, right? And so it could be like both, instigated by the sweat lodge and coinciding with it. New moon in Capricorn. I just got the notification from Astro, whatever that is. Astro Matrix. Cool. Oh, that song is forever ruined for me. I got the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt rendition. Uh, Apocalypse is Judgment in the SKT. When they're like, Apocalypse, apocalypse, we caused it with our dumbness. Instead of Oh Christmas Tree, Oh Christmas Tree. Yeah. I mean, maybe historically accurate. Cool. So that's what the mystical shaman's been up to. The mystical shaman's been doing some hush hush. No one must know. But again, just like that Dark and the Light, because the story of Zeus came out recently, um, where he was like raised in secret and then overthrew his father. But when in that process, like these gods were vomited that were like fully matured, right? So with that dark and the light, again, there could be many. Probably, I'm assuming it's not just one person, but there would be many who have been preparing for some moment, you know. And again, almost like the storm being the result of a sweat lodge that then coincides for others with it, where when one person comes into their selves, other people come into themselves. Um, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, when did this happen? Where did all these people come from? I've seen a few shows. The one that comes to mind immediately is Trigger, where all of a sudden one day like aliens question mark invade, and there are so many different dimensions and races of creatures, people, I guess you could say, that have a knowledge of this organ that produces, I guess you could say, like a spiritual power or whatever, but it's invisible. And so before the invasion, like people don't even know, one, that they have these organs or that they have access to the power that the organ presents. But as the invasion happens, there's like this whole group of people that show up to fight it off. And it's like, whoa, like, how did y'all know? You know what I mean? And it's because of like basically interdimensional travel or whatever. There was a few people, I think, or a team of people that had traveled and found this place where it was known, trained in it, became proficient, and then when the invasion happened on Earth, they were ready. Many paths and the holy mountain. That's the also part of the latest reason why I was gonna go for this deck, because the holy mountain. Cool. Anyway, the child and the holy mountain. We're gonna get final cards from these, and then I guess I'm still gonna do what I had planned on doing. Question mark. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Do 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 do. Cool. I really wish I remembered, but if I forgot, it's fine. I was like, oh, this makes sense because ICC, it is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is. Yes. Ooh. Understanding the unseen, grasping the subtle, and a sacred vessel. Four of clubs. And did we or did we not see the Four of Wands? We did! The Demiurge multiple times. Actually, I think the last time I saw the Demiurge in both the Revelations and Vitruvian editions. Cool. Yeah, interesting. Now we have prophetic dreams, inspired action, tapping into the other side. At the cut with maximizing or minimizing limitation or support, look to the root. Six of Hearts, which is the Six of Cups, which is the memory keeper that we were also seeing. All right. Final card from the Diceology. Before we move on, please. Maybe I'll timestamp this. Maybe I won't. 5-hour videos. We're back, I guess. One final hurrah! Oh my gosh. Guess what the final card is? It did a clean flip in the deck. Guess. If you guess the Ace of Diamonds, chain links, a divine codex, an arrow that pierces the heavens and breaks the clouds, then you'd be correct. It came flipped right back over. Bottom of the deck is the Jack of Clubs, the internal invited to the external, inner secret revealed, cognition illuminated. Cool. We talked about that yesterday. Towards the end of the video. The interfaces of the internal and external. Now we'll go here. The fish is at the bottom of the deck. Fish apparently symbolize like abundance or whatever. Fish and clover, you lucky fish. It's not luck when you're a Pisces. It's delusion. Oh, look, the bear. Yeah, moon bear. Okay, I already forgot. I'll do that next. What did she say? Delusion. Convince yourself. Lily came out. King of Spades, number 30. Today is 12302024. Anything with the lily? I'll give it two more. Or does the lily stand alone? The lily stands alone. Bottom of the deck is flowers. The lily stands with other lilies, I guess. Lily and flowers. Okay, sure. Now the lily is on the floor. Lilies are like toxic, aren't they? I thought this thing was black. Have I never looked at this ever? It's like a light blue color. I mean, usually I just reach in and fool around until I find the remote. Honestly. Okay, Lily, where'd you go? Hello. I guess I can get it after. And like I felt it go right here. I feel like this card is acting like it's a million places that it could have went when it's like literally not. It's not even like this isn't even a huge area. Wow. Pennies from heaven, apparently. I found a penny today just laying on the ground, but it's not just a penny, this little coin I found. Found pennies come from heaven. That's what my grandma told me. She said angels toss them down. Oh, how I love that story. He said when an angel misses you, they toss a penny down, sometimes just to cheer you up, to make a smile out of your frown. So don't pass by that penny when you're feeling blue. It may be a penny from heaven that an angel's tossed down to you. By Charles Mashburn, maybe? Don't know where this came from, but there you go. Little pennies from heaven. See, I wouldn't have noticed the penny on the ground if the lily didn't fall. Yeah, this card, she's just living her best life. Slipped into the unseen. It's fine. I'll find it later. Oh, but I don't want to roll over it if it's under the wheel. Here it is. As I back up and almost roll over the card as I back up to pick it up. Oof, oof, hold up. Okay, maybe not. $9:30. September 30th? Oh, this is the new calendar. It was a Monday. All right, that's what we got. Lilies and a poem. Oh, I want to play Connections. I kind of got away from it. I watched John, Hank, one of the Green brothers. I think John Green, because I think Hank is the one that does like the books and stuff. Anyway, he played Connections, and he was like, when you read them out loud, some of them you catch the connection because you hear it more so than you would catch it by thinking it. Um, pennies, peonies, lilies, peonies, flowers. Pink peony, where's she at? I hope she's doing well. I hope she's doing well. Someone came across my timeline from, I think he said South Africa. And I know she's from South Africa. Shout out to her. I think she's a Leo. Now I'm just like, I guess, going down the list of things that I believe I know about Dana. I think she's a Leo. I think she's from South Africa. These cards do not want to go back in the box. Hello? It'd be super cool if you just like slid back in the box so we could move on. Thank you. Awesome. Love it. I guess I could leave them here. All right, Mystical Shaman, thank you for revealing Luminous Warrior and the Child at the cut. Definitely some maturation. It also feels like when the child reclaims the staff, matures, the child matures into the Luminous Warrior. The Luminous Warrior edges on the realization that the child was working towards. And again, that was the Jack of Diamonds. Recognition of the self that is yet to be realized. There's the realization of it. It's almost like the recognition is the knowing and the theory. The recognition is the 7. The realization is like 9, 10. Ooh, Luminous Warrior and the Ancient Ones. Whoa. 1, 2, 3. Or 1, 3, 2. Or 3, 2, 1. Well, that's the 1, 2, 3. Or the 1, 3, 2. This is the 3, 2, 1. Interesting. Look. The sacrifice is under the Ancient Ones. You see that? There's like one body here, but there's 2 bodies there. Almost like the 1400 to the 2479. The thing that's been like balanced out or whatever. 1,079 in a day. Unless they do whatever they do. All right. Final card, please. Claim flip or claim fall. 5 is the limit. 2 preferred. 3 is okay. 1, I guess. All right. We're just going to keep going. I saw something with those dark astral bodies. Also, the first new moon, I guess, being the Ancient Ones, the second new moon being the Luminous Warriors, because it's the second, black moon, possibly. The first one was on the 1st. New moon Sagittarius was on the 1st. Oh, yeah, on the 1st. And Ancient Ones was number 1. The Rainmaker and Magic. Magic is 33. Rainmaker is 42. 42 is the mirror of 24, which I believe we've seen. I'm sure we do. Would that have been Taming the Wind? I have the book. The table of contents will make it easy. I don't have to flip through and look at the numbers. 24 is the Heart of the Sky. That's what that was. Cool. Oh, look, there's Earth. All right. Claim flip or claim fall. That almost felt like a flip, but I don't think it turned over. Nah. That was, I guess it would have been a dirty flip. What's a leap? Is a leap a dirty flip or a dirty fall? Because it doesn't fall all the way out and it doesn't flip all the way over. It just kind of like, jumps up and goes right back in. Oh, gosh, okay. Now everything's on the floor. Yay, more pennies. How many cards is this? 5 cards. I did say 5. Bottom of the deck is the owl, which is interesting. This owl has perched, though. We saw an owl both in the Queen of Air, but also on the upper realm. The beloved owl. Ooh. The cards that fell, the sacrifice again, the holy mountain, beauty way, the child, and the Andean cross. I'm just going to put them back. Make of that what you will. I don't have the capacity or the desire. If they come back out, and it's possible, Then Sweat Lodge at the cut. Maybe because the sacrifice was there. Because there was kind of the question of like, what was sacrificed? The ancient ones with the Sweat Lodge, they have made their way back to the cut. The witnesses, the proctors, the spiral with the ancient ones. The spiral is number 50. Oh, that was immediate. One card flipped out and it's water. The circle is at the bottom of the deck. And then the council is behind the circle. The circle can be a council. Behind the council is the luminous warrior. The circle, the council, the luminous warrior. So this is interesting. And then number 52, the standstill. The circle, the council, the luminous warrior. This feels like, so when I read it originally, and mostly up until this point, when it comes to the cosigner, whoever is giving the stamp of approval, the patron, deity, whatever, it's been like one of them. But the circle, the council, and the circle and the council with the luminous warrior implies that there's actually multiple, which I'm not surprised by, because in the question of power and authority, what if someone has multiple by birth, right? Last time it was the power and authority of fire, where the power and authority of water was at the bottom of the deck. So you could have argued a case for both of them being present and not just fire. But fire is what drove it forward. Interesting. I've seen a few shows in my isekai anime. Not even a phase. I just love isekai animes. It plays to the escapist within me, I guess. There's a few shows where like someone gets transported to a world of gods, and people in that world have magic or skills or abilities, and when they come of age, they have like a patron deity, like one of the gods comes forward and gives them a blessing which has some kind of effect on their skill, and then depending on whatever, the skills vary in rank or degree. But there's been a few. I know there's been a few. I can think of clearly one, which isn't even the one that I'm thinking of. In that show, he has the blessing of one of the gods, but he curries the favor of like all of them. That's the show. It's a different one. There's a different show where like every god is like cosigns that person, and they get like S rank from every single one. It's like not only did they get the attention of every single god, but to the highest degree possible. And it's like, oh my gosh. It's like that energy with the circle and the council. Like when it came to that sacrifice, it wasn't just one, it was many. And this is 11, 8, 11, 32, 52, difference of 40. What's under the standstill? Because I'm curious. Under the standstill is the drum. Under the drum is the blade. The drum was a gift from one of the Wakantanka in the circle. I don't know if you call them gods. I guess maybe one of the gods in the circle. Wakinyan, the Thunderbird. I think his name is Red Oak. I had a phase, I guess, where I was just like YouTubing, trying to get information, stories, the tellings. Probably because of the Heyoka. It was probably like a Heyoka hole that I fell into because Wakinyan was there, kind of sort of caused the birth of the first Heyoka. And it was because they had like conversed, like he looked into the eye of the Thunderbird and it just like completely disoriented him. He like, I think he like walked out of the tent backwards and was like, "Goodbye, brothers," when he was like greeting them. So it was like, "Hello." The story of the first Heyoka. I don't remember what direction it was in. Maybe the west, but maybe not. Anyway, um, the one Tatanka, when Tatanka got invited, he took the bear, Moon Bear. There's the bear again. The bear made a deal with the chief of the people. The bear was like outside of the circle and knew what they liked, knew what would curry the favor of the gods. Went to the chief of the humans and was like, if I teach you this song that they are like absolutely obsessed with, she was espresso before espresso was espresso, before Sabrina Carpenter was a thing. Woo! And so he taught the chief of the humans, he taught the humans, they played it well. One day when the Wankantanka were convening, the Thunderbird, Wakinyan, was flying overhead. She heard the drums back when people were still living under the surface. Flew down, everyone was like afraid. And then Wakinyan was like, oh my gosh, I love this music. Like, you have to come and join us in the circle. And true to his word, Tatanka, before it came to mean buffalo, which the buffalo was in thunder, so there you go. Before it came to mean buffalo, it was the name of the chief of the humans. He honored his deal with the bear and made a condition of his joining that the bear be invited to. Wakinyan was so pleased that she blessed the drums of the people, that whatever malady they suffer, if they play a steady beat, they would be cured. So after all of that, the drum and the standstill. Cool. And the circle, the Wakantanka. But in that story, it was like Wakinyan. Imagine if there were like multiple and somebody just, excuse me. Interesting. What does it mean? I don't know. But someone has curried the favor of many an aspect in face of the divine. Not just one. I mean, the number doesn't matter. I guess none of it matters if it doesn't resonate, right? It would have no bearing on you or your journey. Sure. Let's do Moon Bear now. And an Archeo, I guess. I want to do one Archeo, but why am I pulling out the tarot? Oh, because of the moon. I was like, why am I pulling out the tarot? I was thinking about the bear. This is the moon part of Moon Bear. And then we have the bear part of Moon Bear. Interesting. Yeah, but I mean, I guess ultimately, whether innate, primal, or whether gained or innate, there's like multiple. Yeah, because I guess when you have the power and authority of fire, earth, air, and water, that's when you enter a sort of magician beyond magician. Like the magician has access and knowledge to all of those realms, but doesn't necessarily inherently, to me, master all of those elements. It masters those elements in a humanly way, like from a human perspective. We go, oh my gosh. But um, if you go beyond that, it doesn't necessarily inherently involve a mastery. Right. Like there's a difference between knowledge and access and an actual mastery. With knowledge and access, there are formulas and rules, more sorcerer energy, um, knowledge. But in mastery, it's almost like you have so much knowledge of not only those elements, but their interplay. And again, the seven, what motivates things that you can do, things that you may not necessarily think you could do. If that makes any sense. It's almost like you can violate the laws of energy and physics and whatever else. Because you have such a deep understanding of the laws, you can do things that would appear to violate them, but it doesn't. And then you can actually violate the laws, because whatever the divine is co-signing, when it comes to the divine, rules and laws don't matter. Interesting. It's with the octopus at the cut. Octopus in the neighborhood. Ooh, the phoenix and the cobra. She's giving Quetzalcoatl energy. The phoenix and the cobra. I don't know why I'm shuffling so much. I want to get one of those. Yeah, there we go. I feel like that is well shuffled. For when I looked before and after the bear. Interesting. And it, like the power and authority of different elements. I almost had it, but then I lost it. I don't like there are many aspects and facets and things to be recognized for. The heart, the mind, how one shows up in the world, like charitable acts or just like power of presence. But then there are some that are like a complete package, you know. And it's not comparison, it's not ego, it just is what it is. You know what I mean? Seven of Swords, and this deck in particular is my card of birthright. But it's one that is, in a way, ooh, and it's at the cut. Well, the Daughter of Pentacles is at the cut with the Eight of Pentacles. Almost like the story of Phaeton. It is birthright, but we don't get to claim it just because, you know, whatever. With great power comes great responsibility, and condition of birth does not change that. So it's like birthright with a caveat, right? When you turn 18, then you have access to this money or whatever. Ooh, strengthen the Ten of Pentacles. Cool. All right. This is the Moon deck. All right. Moon Bear. So we're going to look for the moon first. I'll give it. Oops. Since I'm looking for the moon, any cards that come out, irrelevant. Mother of Cups, irrelevant. Mother of Swords, irrelevant. The Empress, irrelevant. Interesting. The Mother of Swords is literally an owl in this deck, and the Queen of Air had an owl with her instead of the butterflies. The Mother of Cups is, so this is pre-High Priestess and pre-Justice energy. So almost like how the crone felt like she had some kind of claim on Starborn energy and she doesn't. Again, going to the whole like thing of birthright. Some things, yes, some things are conditional, and it just is what it is. At least that's my perspective. Maybe to some people it ain't, and you just claim anything and everything you want. Consequences be darned. But with this pre-high priestess, pre-justice energy, that's irrelevant. Just like the Five of Pentacles was irrelevant, and I feel like its irrelevance needed to be stated because a lot of times I feel like it can be easy for us to feel that like, oh, I've been going through this and I've been going through that and I'm experiencing loss, or I'm not as abundant as I want to be, and it is my divine birthright that I be abundant. And then the Five of Pentacles come out, like, that's irrelevant. That doesn't mean anything. In the grand scheme of things, lack doesn't entitle anyone to anything, right? And it's easy for us as humans to feel entitled because it's like, well, this person is getting that and this other person is doing whatever, then I should be able to whatever. Anyway, it's like something can be seen, felt, intuited with this Mother of Cups. But just because you can intuit it doesn't necessarily give you access to it. Not necessarily full access, which almost goes against the whole, if you can think it, imagine it, dream it, then it is already within your vibrational whatever, and you can have it. And then there's this pre-justice, which can be a self-entitlement. But again, just because we feel entitled to something, be it earthly, spiritual, or otherwise, it doesn't mean anything. And then maybe the Empress is here as this, like, oh, well, I'm this divine feminine and I'm supposed to receive. And it's like, okay, well, find you a divine masculine that'll give it to you. I guess. All of this is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. And again, I feel like there are degrees to certain things. You know what I mean? Anyway, bottom of the deck is the Son of Cups, the High Priestess, and the Star. This, again, this is the energy of the flame, the mentor, and the river. The High Priestess sees within the cup of the Son of Cups all of these qualities that are representative of the star. The star that rests on a bed of light in an abyss. It's in his cup. The High Priestess sees it. That's why the Son of Cups gets the star. Two of Wands. Anyway, Two of Wands, the Lovers, and the Four of Wands. Two of Wands, the Lovers, and the Four of Wands. I love this. Because I feel like this almost goes beyond choices and well, sure. It's like choices and decisions moving forward. Progressive choices and decisions. Choices and decisions in areas that have potential. That potential can be aligned to and can be converted into momentum. It's like potential to kinetic energy that aligns truly with someone's vision or whatever. So that's why it's like the entitlement is whatever, the lack doesn't matter, and just because you see it or envision it or can intuitively mine it doesn't guarantee you anything. And it's because, again, it's that whole, like, as we're doing whatever in the upper realms, we're being witnessed. And when you're in the upper realms, your heart, your mind, your soul, all of that is like wide open for anyone to see. Again, it's like when you can read someone's intentions behind why they're doing what they do. And sometimes the action can be great, lovely, awesome, but the intention behind it can be very grimy. I'll just say grimy. Grimy as not necessarily bad, but there's just like a lot of sticky stuff, right? So maybe there's a hurt, pain, fear, trauma that motivates a lot of what someone does. So like, let's say that there's someone who's like really nice and very social, but from a space of like, and again, this no tea, no shade, it kind of just is what it is. But from a space of like trying to people please everyone because maybe they have like an abandonment wound or something. And when you see that intention, beyond just seeing the intention, it's like it's possible for that person to be so in the trauma response that they don't actually form genuine, deep connections. Because sometimes to form a deep connection in being who you authentically are, you may like rub some people the wrong way. Or if you truly legitimately feel one type of way, but in order to keep the peace, you like let it slide or you don't say anything, now you're like hurting yourself. So even if you maintain the peace and even if like people keep liking you, now there's so much repressed stuff within you of this character that you believe you have to play that it puts you out of it. You know what I mean? And that's why it's like it's just like grimy because there's a lot of sticky whatever. It's not necessarily bad because we've been through what we've been through. It doesn't make us bad people. But again, when you can see that intention, and it's like it could be like one of those like no matter what I say you're going to agree with me, aren't you? And they're like, yeah, pretty much. They may not say that, but again, unless you're the type of person that loves yes people, if you if the point and purpose of this interaction is to have someone who counterbalances you as you two of wands forward, let's say the lovers here, besides choices and decisions, it's like other people who also align in a way to make something great. The point of having many heads or multiple people at the table is to get a variety of perspective. But if everyone's yes people, then you lose the benefit of the multitude or you lose the benefit of the many. It's like bananas. And how genetic, like they're all genetic clones of each other because bananas don't have seeds. And I'm not talking about plantains. Bananas don't have seeds. You like graft them onto other plants or whatever. They're genetic clones of each other. And there was like a fungus or something that almost destroyed all the bananas because since there is no genetic diversity, since there's no biodiversity, they're all susceptible to the same thing. And so if it takes one of them out, it's going to take them all out. And again, that's the disadvantage of like, or that's when diversity or variety of thought, background, whatever, when it's just full of yes people, again, like you don't catch those things and then the whole thing collapses. Anyway, but if the other person is there to be able to counterbalance, but they're never going to perform that counterbalance role, then it's like, well, what's the point? You know? Anyway, what I love is that the Six of Wands comes next. The 2 + 4 is the 6. It's the marriage of the 2 and the 4. Some people like it may not be weighted the same, but all contributions lead to the 6 of Wands. Even if one person brings the 2 and the other person brings the 4, almost like a quality over quantity. Plus, when you're making a dish, you put different amounts of different ingredients together. Like, you know what I mean? You don't add equal parts vinegar and all the other stuff. We're looking for the moon. The moon is in between the 6 of Cups and Death. The 6 of Cups, 6 of Hearts, Mother of Pentacles, 4 of Pentacles. Speaking of connections, what was the 6 of Hearts? We saw it. I'm pretty sure it wasn't the final. I'll just look real quick. So I remember seeing it. I was like, 6 of Cups was the memory keeper that we were seeing. Maximizing or minimizing limitation or support, look to the root. Basically, something can work really, really well for us or not at all. And it depends on us. For example, right? Let's go to the person who is the yes person because they don't want to upset anybody. Um, and someone's like, what do you think? Like, really? Like, no, like, legitimately, like, tell me what you think. Don't just agree with me. That person can either go on the side of maximizing and support, like, oh, like, this person cares about me and they genuinely want to know what I think. Now, depending on how safe I feel in this situation, like, if this is like someone who's very close to me, this could be an opportunity for me to begin experiencing true like self-expression and potentially finding out that like my voice, my opinion, who I am is appreciated and desired and safe. Or they could freak out and it's like at the thought of the mask or the facade slipping, falling, cracking, breaking, they just like fall apart. That would be the minimizing and limitation. But the root is within the self. We determine sort of which experience we're going to have when we're faced and confronted with certain things. Cool. Now I'm going to look before and after the bear. The bear. Oh, look, there's the buffalo. And it's a different deck. There's another Buffalo Thunder. Iced Coffee Chronicles is ICC. I already finished the iced coffee. Not sponsored by Dunkin' or any other people I get iced coffee from. But that's what ICC stands for. And then 2479 was my order number. The Buffalo and the Otter. This is, for some reason, this otter is making me think of the Sweat Lodge. And how it was like inside of the Sweat Lodge it's like this completely different vibe, almost a completely different space or dimension from the storm that was outside of the Sweat Lodge. Oh, I already shuffled this, didn't I? Now the dolphin and the otter. See, now this gorgeous, like playful energy is coming in. And then there's the crocodile and the dolphin. But I actually don't mind the crocodile there because it almost, again, going back to the example of how that person reacts and responds, it feels like, at least in how it's coming through, take it as it resonates, if it resonates, and always, always listen to your own intuition and discernment, because it could, for somebody, not be a space where their vulnerability will be acknowledged and respected. But like that otter, dolphin, crocodile is that, like, if you could be brave in this moment and open up, you would find that there are people out there that will love and appreciate you for who you are. And you don't have to be so quick to like please and to say what you think they want to hear and do what you think they want you to do. That's why it's like this crocodile lurking, because it's possible. But again, depending on if we can be brave in those moments where it is for us to be brave, where we could come face to face with our heart's desires and leave the spirals and the storms and the dark nights and everything behind us. If we can do it, that's our exit. If not, then there may be another way. I'm going to take this one from the top instead of from the bottom. The swan, the zebra, and the tarantula. I love this because this is all about embracing one's uniqueness. The tarantula is not like other spiders, and that's okay, because some would say we have more than enough spiders in the world. Even though tarantulas are You know, we're looking for the bear, for the moon bear. My brain just said like wolf bear. I was like, that is not how that works. It turned the M of moon into a W and was like, wolf. Oh, there we go. We got a dig for this one. Interesting. We got the lizard. There's the rabbit. What's after? The horse. The bottom of the deck is the crocodile. This is interesting. Again, I mentioned it before, but way back in Scorpio season, there was the light that was emerging from the depths of the abyss. And now I guess that we're in the abyss. If it's light, like the star, then it's like not gonna be as bad. You know what I mean? It's almost like finding a whole nother world with the upside down, with the flipped inverted hourglass of the roots and the canopy. Before the moon is death. Before the bear is the scorpion. So heavy Scorpio energy. After the moon is the Six of Cups. After the bear is the lizard. I feel like this is basically everything that I was just saying. Death in the Scorpion is to take the scary route of opening up and potentially finding the very things that you didn't think you would. This is something that I've been experiencing in my own life. I think I kind of mentioned it. I did mention it. Um, in a few ways, I found things that I didn't necessarily think I would find. Like even I was so already like ready to not even read the entry for bushfires. But if I didn't read it, I wouldn't have known like, oh, okay. So whoever made this deck, like they know what's up. You know what I mean? Um, but besides that, there was something that kind of sort of like earlier this year I had given up on. I was like, I don't need it to be happy, honestly. I I can enjoy me time. I can make myself happy. Peace is a commodity that I can't do without. You know what I mean? But anyway, there were some things that I was like, I may not find this ever, and I'm okay with that because I don't need it. And then I kind of sort of did, and I was like, whoa. But also, I know that in my journey, there have been a few times when I've gone through like a letting go of resistance, where there'll be something that I have a lot of resistance to, and it'll keep like nagging me and pressing at me. And it's not necessarily because it's for me to go and do whatever, it's just for me to drop the resistance to it. Um, and also, I don't think I mentioned it, but a few times ago, a few lives ago, when I was trying to think of, I think Boys for Now, I was like, is it Boys Who Cry? And then, like, the next day, I was on a Don to Don, like, not rabbit hole, but just like watching people react to the opening because I love it. And then somehow I got on people reacting to the 7th episode. And I saw like a grown man cry in the video. And it was so nice, I guess, to see him cry and not have to like allow the moment to be what it was and to talk about everything that I didn't watch him like talk about it honestly because I was on to the next person and I cried every single time I watched somebody react to episode 7. And at one point I was like, why am I doing this to myself? But then also um yeah, it was just such a like a powerful episode. And I was like, oh, that's funny. Like yesterday was boys who cry, and now I'm like seeing people tear up and emotionally react to this. And again, it was nice that it didn't like the moment or the sentiment, the emotional uh, sentimentality, the emotions didn't have to be ruined by some like machismo, macho, this is what a man must do, boys don't cry, whatever. Um, and again, it's like it breaks away from that. So what's interesting is, though, I guess everything. Oh, okay. The bear is looking at the lizard. The lizard in the Six of Cups is to kind of sort of um, lizards because they're cold-blooded, ectothermic question mark. They can't regulate their own body heat. They have to rely on their environment to do that for them. And I'm sure there are other things that the lizard can mean, but when I see the lizard, like that's what comes up out to me, stands out to me. Someone who can't self-regulate, someone who is dependent on their environment. And so the Six of Cups being whatever happened, that's whatever's been with someone since childhood, and it's been growing as they grow. The roots have gotten deeper as they've grown taller, or as they've aged, matured, grown. Um, this would be like that freak out meltdown at the question of like, what do you like really think and how do you really feel? Like I've noticed that you always like just go along with what other people do and say, but like, where's the real you? And it's like, it doesn't. Well, Scorpio energy is here, so it can be that aggressive. It doesn't have to be. Not calling Scorpio aggressive. I don't need no Scorpios coming after me. Speaking of though, my Scorpio ex roomie, we talked like yesterday. And it's just like it's been a minute because life has been life. But on the other side is this death and scorpion energy that can take advantage of that opportunity and to do the scary thing and open up, even if it may sting. But again, because of that, with the crocodile here, there is so much like happiness and joy and what we actually want that lurks beneath the surface of the things that we're afraid of. And I guess it's a question. I was gonna say it looks like the bear is the easiest thing to go to. Um, and until the South Node enters Virgo, even for a little bit after, because Aquarius is at 0 degrees, Pluto is going to be trining the South Node and sextiling the North Node, which means like it's possible for us to do the brave, scary, whatever thing, but it's a lot more comfortable and it's a lot more energetically favorable. The harmony leans on the side of doing what we've always done. And the wild thing about being a human is that we can do the thing that we've always done, but somehow be convinced that we're doing something completely different. You know what I mean? Death is not looking back. Death does not care. Death is looking forward. The scorpion, however, is poised to sting the bear in the back. So, and then I said I wanted to get an Archeo with Moon there. That's the thing about the Moon, though. Through its associations with like the subconscious and fears and stuff like that, even if the moon or lunar energy brings us something good, it can be like in a not necessarily obvious or clear way, right? Maybe that's why too the Mother of Cups and the Mother of Cups, the Mother of Swords, and the Empress came out, because Is this the sun? Illuminator is at the bottom of the Archeo. I guess it'll be illuminating either way. Even if we like do see this thing far out, or even if we manifest it, even if we know that it's for us, that knowledge doesn't always inspire us to do differently when we're confronted with something. The Empress that came out to be disregarded, maybe this is something that we've manifested. But if we can't accept it because we can't face all of the things that we need to face in order to move in the direction that we want to move in, then it's almost like it doesn't, it's not that it doesn't matter, but in a certain way, it doesn't. Because all of our wishing, wanting, praying, manifesting, all of the ways that we've aligned, if we can't cross that threshold or finally say yes where we've always said no, then what was it all for? The outcome is going to be the same, which could in a way make us feel worse, you know, especially the very human, like, well, like, oh, I can't believe I like ruined this, or I self-sabotaged, or like, you know, if we weren't like blaming ourselves for things before, then I'm like, oh, I should have said yes to that, I should have whatever. I feel like that too, like stuff like this is also the reason why I feel like it's not necessarily F around and find out season, but it feels like we're coming into a season where all of the lessons that we've learned and the ways that we've been challenged to grow, where we have to rely on it. Because that's what is gonna help us, I guess, navigate these crocodile infested waters. But maybe that's the thing with Scorpio energy too, just like the moon. It's like, I'm a Pisces, I love Scorpio. I love scorpionic energy for the most part. I vibe with Scorpios. Personal friends that are Scorpios, love them. You know? But I feel like it's more so the perception of Scorpio. Scorpionic energy more so than Scorpio. And the reaction, it's almost like if Scorpio, scorpionic, zodiac stereotype almost has such a like villainous, dark, whatever. Like if they did something good, then you'd almost be like, you question it. You'd be like, what is this? You baked me a cake. Is it poison? Did you spit in it? Did you put laxatives in it? Is something going to happen? Like, you're not nice. You can't be nice to me. Like, that's fine. We don't have to go there. The Star Climber. Love that. It can be that, which again, just like with the moon, when it brings us something that we actually want, but it requires us to be willing and ready to leave the dark. And again, it's kind of that Aksunare brilliant dawn where light comes where there's only been dark nights. But if we are so ill prepared for the coming light or so comfortable in the darkness, then we could forego it. Now we have Anima Animus at the cut, which is like a sun and a moon. All right, Moon Bear, give me one Archeo. Oh, okay, well, one flipped over in the deck, and then like 2, 3 came out, slid out on top of Death and the Scorpion. So again, it's interesting because the Mother of Cups is pointing in the same direction that Death is facing, which is the direction that the Lizard is not facing. But the Bear is facing the Lizard. Even the Scorpion is moving in the direction of the Lizard. Again, it's moving in the direction of the Lizard. And it can be read as that South Node trine despite the sextile to the North Node. And then I guess we'll move into North Node conjunct Pluto in Aquarius. Oof, that's big oof energy. I don't remember where. I think it was on a video that Reem did, and like the first comment mentioned something about 2029, and I don't know nothing. Okay, but I do know that months ago I saw on my phone news that like there's another asteroid that is on a collision course with Earth, and it's supposed to hit in 2029, and the asteroid is like Apep or Apophis, some like somebody associated with like death or chaos or whatever. And again, not to say that anything is going to come of anything, but it should still be here. I don't remember if it was a link or a picture that I sent. Is it this one? Oh, it's Apophis. The decade has a few more treats in store for us beyond that, including a visit from asteroid 99942 Apophis. When Apophis was first discovered in 2004, observations placed it at a level 2 on the Torino impact hazard scale, with a score of 0 meaning the likelihood of impact is 0 or thereabouts, and 10 meaning a collision is certain. So it's a 2 out of 10. It's not gonna whatever, but it may do a flyby. Um, yeah, level 2, while low, is for objects making a somewhat close but not highly unusual pass near the Earth and meriting further attention from astronomers. However, further observations in December of that year placed it up to level 4 due to a 1.6% chance that the asteroid would hit us in 2029. So it started as a 2, it went up to 4. But yeah, I saw that like months ago. So that the only thing associated with 2029 in my brain is like, oh, Apophis is going to be making a pass by Earth. And Apophis, Apophis. Okay, I know it's an asteroid, but give me like. Apep, also known as Apophis, was the great serpent god of chaos in ancient Egyptian mythology. Some stories say that he has his origins as the severed umbilical cord of the god Ra. Ra was the foremost of the Egyptian gods, having domain over the sun and therefore all life. So, god of chaos. There you go. Anyway, again, not to say anything about anything. I just maybe because of I don't know. I don't know. How did that come up? Who knows? The card that came out on top of the moon bear is the inventor. This is the inventor. The inventor is looking in the same direction as the bear, looking in the same direction as the lizard, and again, the lizard is ectothermic. It cannot self-regulate. It relies upon its environment. So, I guess in the event that a lizard is lizarding while an asteroid named after the god of chaos passes by, the peace that the lizard may, I guess the lizard would have to cling to people that have peace, because the environment is one of chaos. But if you can self-regulate, then it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? And maybe that's the energy that folks were like tapping into and tuning into. It's the peace amidst the chaos, which is the bubble, the eye of the storm. Um, cool. The 3 cards that came out on top of Death and the Scorpion are, oh my gosh, where's your name? It's the Dreamer, but she's giving like Thoth or Horus or not the god of chaos Egyptian energy, which is so interesting. They were face down. Then we have the Fatalist and the Survivor. The Dreamer, the Fatalist, and the Survivor. This Fatalist is interesting. I may actually read this one. With the Fatalist, I get like a nihilist, someone who's like doom and gloom, kind of like Eeyore, but they're blindfolded one foot on this wheel. Like, I feel like she's like above it. Like, regardless of who's trying to trip her up or do whatever, it doesn't matter. Which is why, like, again, her name is not what I would necessarily think. But after the dreamer and then the survivor, like, if we could tap into that, then again, it doesn't matter, because this fatalist is not. She is so unbothered about all of this. It's not lizard energy. It's not how her environment, like, her emotional, spiritual, whatever state is not dependent on the environment like this lizard is. And again, I'm sure the lizard means lots of things, but to me, that's what lizard means to me. It's ectothermic, it's cold blooded, it relies on its environment. When it's hot, it seeks the shade. When it's cold, it seeks the sun because it can't regulate its own body temperature. The fatalist brings the gift of acceptance when you are thrown into despair by the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune and cannot find the irony and human amidst the chaos. When you are in danger of losing your balance and fear you're about to fall, the fatalist will teach you how to best ride the wheel of fortune with dignity. Interesting. That is her attribute. Let's read the persona. She trusts her sense of balance and maintains her integrity. Again, she is not the lizard. The lizard can't self regulate and so has now, like, the lizard trusting its internal balance and integrity is like, if I know when I'm hot and I need to go seek shade, and then I know when I'm cold and I need to go seek the sun. But what happens if there's no shade, or what happens if it's the winter or it's nighttime and there's no sun? You know what I mean? Anyway, maybe this is why too. I'm like, I'm done. The gorgeous energy is gorgeous though. She trusts her sense of balance and maintains her integrity, stepping straight and true. The fatalist accepts the path beneath her feet. I wish I had the chariot in. I think I have the vice versa. It's either the chariot, the back of the chariot, and the vice versa, or the chariot in the Gaia tarot, Dreams of Gaia, where it's like the path of the chariot forms beneath the feet of the horse, or it forms beneath the chariot. There is no path ahead of the chariot, but the charioteer trusts that when they take that step, or when the cart keeps rolling, that there will be a path, and it's very much this energy. She understands that time's grindstone turns without mercy, bringing instability on the back of unpredictability, and it doesn't phase her. All things outside our comprehension are a threat, and if we are unable to accept the constancy of change, we will grow dizzy and fall. If we try to cling to our possessions and our self-image, Kismet will make a mockery of us. But if we ignore the machinations of small-minded men and focus on making right choices, our emotional ups and downs will not undermine us. Like the arbiter, the fatalist wears a blindfold to focus her concentration and make sure she isn't lured into distraction. Love that energy. Again, reading fatalist, I would have thought like nihilist, oh, nothing matters, everything is whatever. Which is kinda, yes. It feels like the fatalist has accepted the same truths that the nihilist does, but takes a different approach to it. You know what I mean? She scoffs at Murphy and his law. I want to read the tale of the fatalist. Like, I'm intrigued. But again, she's coming off of the dreamer, which ironically is this like Toth Horus energy, is the order that puts the chaos to bed after it slays Osiris. That's why, and it's like all of these arrows over their head. See, and again, it's that same trust, but it feels like, depending on the situation, it would be easier to close your eyes, right? It feels like in this situation, it would be easier to close your eyes because you wouldn't see the arrows flying at you. But eyes wide open, knowing that he's not going to get hit by a single arrow, the dreamer is like still there. Again, like I said earlier, I'm a Pisces. It's not luck, it's delusion. I'm kidding. It's not delusion. It's a lot of things with a little bit of delusion. A little bit of delusion and the power to make dreams reality. The fatalist's tale. She tossed the 3 yellowing dice into the mincer, and begging heaven's indulgence, began to crank the old machine's wooden handle. At first there was resistance, then the bones began to splinter and crack under the pressure of the rotating screw. From the mincer's mouth, particles of dye, which is like DI, particles of D, were tossed out into a carefully positioned china mortar. Taking the pestle, she ground the fragments to a powder. Then, adding a little water, she used the paste to fill in the cracks in his life. Having removed chance from the equation, she now felt confident that things would begin to improve. So, literally, maybe a pinch of delusion, but also the power to make dreams into reality. She removed chance from the equation in her tale. Now felt confident that things would begin to improve. Love that. And then we have the survivor. But the thing about the inventor here, and the from an outside perspective, outside being like, I don't necessarily align to or believe the things that some of the things that I hear and see and witness. Like whenever it's like, oh, there's going to be this global catastrophe and there's going to be like worldwide starvation and all of the food is going to whatever and the world is going to whatever. It's almost like there is an empowered stance of like preparation. I'm going to be prepared when all of this stuff happens. But to energetically enter a space of preparation is to co-sign the happening. You know what I mean? And like you are this powerful manifester. And it's this interesting, that's why it feels like so much of the belief or the religion or the spirituality or whatever itself is almost like tainted, because on one hand it empowers you and calls you this excellent, brilliant mastermind, god-given, divine, god in the form manifestor creator. And then when the possibility of some great tragedy happens, instead of using all of that power or whatever to subvert or avoid this outcome, it co-signs it, but then gives you like this bubble, I guess, to weather the storm in. And again, since I don't align to that, I'm like, no. If I am all of these things that you tell me, I'm gonna use my power to just cancel all that out. Because like, instead of going to the grocery store and stocking up on cans of food, I'd rather just like not exist in a world that is like starved. You know what I mean? Like, as this powerful manifesting creator or whatever, why would I? No. But the reason why I bring it up is because, again, the bear is looking at the lizard influenced by the Six of Cups. Six of Cups is the past. So it can manifest as nostalgia or trauma. Here's that past nostalgia or trauma. Here's a lack of an ability to self-regulate. And then here is the inventor that is looking in this direction. And so I say all of that to say that how we are almost convinced, even in our self-empowered attempts to weather whatever storm, we co-sign it's happening. We take part in the invention of the thing, which you can do, of course, because you make all the choices and decisions in your life. But Whereas where there's this like dreamer, fatalist survivor who not only is she not facing the direction of the inventor, but she's also blindfolded. Like, or we can invent it, you know? And I feel like in so many not necessarily intentional ways, that's like one of the interesting dichotomies of a kind of spirituality to me, I guess, is how empowered we are by some of the messaging, but how we can be convinced to use that power to not consign, what's the word? To validate, I guess, experiences and um, realities or whatever that like we don't even like want to have. And again, to me, it's like to be so empowered and so powerful and whatever, but then to in the same breath co-sign, that's the word I was looking for, to co-sign like all of this other stuff. Like I don't, in my brain, to me, 1 and 1 ain't making 2. 2 and 2 ain't making 4. 2 and 3 ain't making 5. Something's not adding up. Because it's, I don't know, it's almost like it turns some of those that would break away from a certain system into the very beings that created, manifested, call it forward. You know what I mean? Anyway, so all that to say, whoever got the 2029 as not the Apophis, I'm on your team. I'm on your side, girl. What article? What? If I delete this video, I ain't even say it. The moon bear is also interesting because the bear implies some kind of like hibernation if it's the season. Well, the season of the moon where the nights are the longest, winter, is when the bears hibernate. But just as something has been hibernating in this long night, just like the crocodile, it implies that when the sun comes out, it's going to like wake up. Excuse me. Cool. Oh, that's 3 mothers. Mother of Cups, Mother of Swords, and the Empress. Now the bottom of the deck is the Mother of Pentacles. The only mother that we don't see is the Mother of Wands, which is interesting because we had Taming the Wind, Water, and Fire earlier. So we're at 3 out of 4 elements on all of these. Not all of these, but you know. The Lizard and the Scorpion are both fire too. Yeah, I guess that's this moon bear energy, which is ultimately like it kind of sort of doesn't matter what we manifest. It doesn't matter what we know is going to happen or happening. It doesn't matter how we align. If when the opportunity presents itself, like none of those things matter if we don't choose the thing that we know is coming, the thing that we're aligning to, if we don't make those hard choices and decisions, you know? And again, like the crocodile, these crocodile infested waters are hiding like otter and dolphin energy, which is like the majority of the people who use these, who I've seen use these decks, is like, oh my gosh, this energy is so gorgeous. This is like the good stuff. But again, it's like how we sometimes don't choose the good stuff because of our commitment to the not great stuff that could have happened a long time ago. And it's not that we won't, it's not that we can't. So I guess I could have said this in a way that was like, make sure you choose the difficult thing, but also at the same time, use your intuition and discernment, because not everything that necessarily presents itself as like accurately. And sometimes it can be our desire for otter dolphin energy that'll have us buy into lies, right? It's like the convenient lie over the harsh truth. This is someone that comes to me, or an opportunity that comes to me in dolphin otter energy. Like, oh boy, like I'm going to take that and then your intuition and discernment is telling you the whole time like it's bunk. But because you want it, and because the dark is dark and things that frighten us are scary, it's like we put on the whatever glasses so that the red flags don't look red anymore. And I'm not saying that your intuition discernment is going to tell you to jump into the crocodile infested waters, because your path is your path. Maybe it's not your path to be whatever, it's not your path to not be, you know? And that's another thing to me. I find it interesting that there's this whole like the divine God, the creator, split itself into billions of pieces so that it could have every experience imaginable, as if there aren't terrible, crappy experiences. You know what I mean? Like, not every experience is like great. So just and like it just, I feel like that it's kind of like not irrelevant, but again, it's that false sense of entitlement. Because who said there isn't a piece of the divine that wants to experience the level of delusion that tells itself that everything is going to be okay, only to experience disappointment? Because maybe when the divine is at one, it doesn't experience disappointment or whatever, and it can only experience those things through us, you know? I don't know. More than anything, I feel like maybe it's not that we don't take things far enough, but like there are multiple ways that this could play out. If we're going to attach to something, let's choose to attach to things that are fleshed out enough to be more objectionably like good. You know what I mean? Anyway, it's maybe all that plays into the subtlety or what we attach ourselves to. Ooh, who this? The Falcon? It's the Falcon. There was the bird and the Sweat Lodge, the Falcon and the Fatalist. So as I'm looking at it, the Falcon is watching the Fatalist, and the Fatalist is headed towards the Falcon. But as I don't cross my arms, it's like going in the opposite direction. Anyway, that's giving me the whole witness in the upper worlds energy. That did not shuffle. So now I'm going to put these cards away, and then I'm going to get the power and authority of fire, air, earth, and water. Cool. And I guess the point of all that, because I feel like I need it, like whatever, is again just like the Mother of Cups, Mother of Swords, Empress. What we can imagine, intuit, divine, what we feel like we deserve, how we align, and what we manifest. All of that is irrelevant if we don't make the choices and decisions that like make that our reality. And like when I say how I feel like sometimes there's a lack of substance, it's like it's a lot of like pretty words and like ideologies that we can consciously subscribe to, but if it doesn't take root enough for us to like honor or actually do that in real life, then it doesn't matter. Because when we get the opportunities to experience all of the things that we want, we like self-sabotage again, another dark night, another trip around the spiral, and it doesn't have to be. Maybe that's more so than anything, like all of the stuff that I feel like has come to be acknowledged or accepted as true about the spiritual journey or whatever, that doesn't necessarily have to be true. But it can be, obviously. Overwhelmingly, it can be. All right. Oh, no, I'm not doing all them. But I will do this one. Metamorph. I just saw the jester. This is the jester. This is the spoiler alert. Bottom of the deck is the midwife. The midwife, it's like the midwife helps in these transitions. But the midwife only assists in delivery, and she assists in a lot of the like external thing, like making the mother comfortable. But the actual delivery, the midwife can't deliver the baby for the mother. Like the mother has to be the one to push, has to push through the pain and all of the things that transpire when babies are born. The mother has to be the one to actually do all of that. The midwife can help and try to make it easy and remind her to breathe, but the actual delivery has to be the mother. I just saw the jester. I just want to show you. Oh, the jester is in between. The jester is in between the inventor and the fatalist, headed in the direction of the fatalist. This is so interesting to me. Not that this feels like almost like a devil's advocate type energy, but this energy, it feels like the jester pretends like it's going to invent and go down the same loops and spirals and whatever. But the jester is like, when stuff hits the fan and the time comes to make whatever choice and the decision, jester is like, I'm coming over here. But the dreamer, the fatalist, and the survivor, y'all can have all that. I was just kidding, girl. That was a performance. That was a joke. It was obviously a joke. Hello. Who would want that? No. So he's like tiptoeing over here, almost like a Seven of Swords type energy. It's interesting that he's between those two, but yeah, literally, it was like the pants and the shoes. Jester's like, just kidding. With this metaphor. Jester's like, yeah, I was a griffin the whole time, girl. There was absolutely no chance that I was going with the inventor. Lizards, really? No. Love a lizard. But wouldn't want to not be able to self-regulate like how lizards can't self-regulate. So I'm gonna go ahead and make the transition and transformation. Your intuition discernment will tell you. So in reality, how mad can you be at the anything? I don't know. You are entitled to feel everything that you feel. So you can be real mad. I can't believe this person did whatever. I can't believe they did that. That's why I say over here, number one, I ain't interested in being no hierophant. But for two, just always, always, always follow your intuition and discernment. Patrick is human and can be wrong. Patrick can be way off the mark. But your intuition and discernment shouldn't be. But also, I hope you develop the ability, if you don't have it, to differentiate your intuition from any of the other subtle voices that can. Ooh, the eagle just fell. Any of the other subtle voices that can come in and be interpreted as such, like anxiety or fear or pattern recognition or anything else. The eagle fell, and also we got two more animals. Oh, interesting. These are such interesting animals. These are such interesting animals. The eagle, the elk, and the hawk fell on the floor. Did I say that right? The eagle, the elk, and the hawk. For some reason, I thought I said helk or something. It feels like the eagle, and then we saw the falcon at the cut, and now we have this griffin, right? It feels like the eagle, it's an eagle outside the realm of everything that the sun touches, but it appears as a hawk. I feel like there was a similar energy to this before. Why do I feel like it was on Scorpio? Why do I feel like it was with Scorpio when I did the powers of 2 and 3? It might have been with Scorpio in the powers of 2 and 3. It's like if you could look at an energy with energetic spiritual eyes, you would see it as the eagle, but your earthly eyes would see it as the hawk. Almost like the vibration of the eagle is too high to incarnate on the earthly plane, like the highest. And that's almost, again, the body being at a 9, where it's at like full capacity, almost. The hawk is as high as it can go physically on earth. You would never see an eagle because the vibration is too high. But the hawk is an eagle. So again, like if you look at it with your spiritual eyes, you would see it as the eagle. It just doesn't manifest as such. But it is the eagle. She's almost in an alternate timeline, in an alternate version of reality. The reason why there are so many like earth angels, this is another conspiracy theory that I'm starting right here. I'm fabricating right now. Um, it could already be one, but it's almost like the reason why there are so many like earth angels is because they were like, every time we appear as we are, panic ensues. So maybe at some point the angels got smart and they were like, let's just come down looking like humans so that they don't freak out or whatever, right? Because imagine like, oh girl, that's dark. Let's do something else. Imagine someone's in the kitchen and they're cooking, and then an angel just pops up and they have this knife and they're chopping vegetables, and they get so scared that they like cut their finger. And the angel's like, oh my gosh, like you weren't supposed to do that. Like there were enough cut fingers that they were like, okay, let's come down a different way, you know. uh but because it's because like you see inside of that it's like this hawk, but outside it's the eagle. And then the elk is here on this eclipse, which is like this completely different energy. But I feel like low key, I feel like this is like some sand type energy, just because I feel like whenever I'm like, and this is like different, like what is this? I can just imagine her being like, there's this energy, but then like there's this other one that's like different than these two, but still like somehow similar. Bottom of the deck is the moth, which is a transformation unlike that of the butterfly. Well, this is like dark to light, literally. But in the same way, our metamorph is going almost from the light to the dark. What is this elk? It feels like who or whatever the elk is, it sees the hawk as the eagle. So low hanging fruit, this elk is like ancestor, elder, those who were around in a time before, like those who were around when the angels, you know, and maybe it's like something that you never quite get used to, but you don't have a heart attack every time you see one, you know? And so because they are used to like being in the presence of angels or know the energy and vibe of an angel, they can see, they can tell which hawks are eagles versus which hawks are like hawks, like the elk knows. Now there is something thematically interesting about this sun at the bottom of the card with the eagle and this eclipse up here. My brain goes Samyaza, Angel of Pride, but the one where a tiny there was like a light in the heavens. I can read it. I guess this is where I use this deck. So I'm going to look before and after Samyaza. I guess especially since we're talking about angels and we naturally kind of sort of got here anyway. Oh, interesting. They are all upright. Oh, look! I cut the deck and there he literally is. Wow, I didn't even get to shuffle. This is literally the one I was going for, too. Remiel, Angel of Visions, is under Samyaza. And I guess we'll just take this one. No shuffle necessary. Somebody said this video was long enough. Angel of Undoing, Armoros. This Angel of Undoing is interesting. This, like the lowering of the veil in the Angel of Undoing, may coincide with when the hawks, or when the eagle started appearing as hawks. Because for an eagle to manifest as an eagle instead of a hawk, it would tear the fabric of the veil or whatever. I don't know. This is ICC. They go places, and I'm just like, this is what the cards say. They'll confirm, and I'm like, I don't know what it means, but at least she's consistent. This is literal. I just literally cut the deck to the card I was looking for, so I guess I'm not even going to shuffle it. That's cool. Don't even need to. As the angel sang, a single speck of something passed through the light and cast a tiny shadow down on the earth. Beneath the stars. Okay, so as the angel sang, a single speck of something passed through the light and cast a tiny shadow down on the earth. Beneath the stars, that shadow looked back at the heavens and saw himself for the first time. Like that. Like that. There we go. That he saw himself. Struggle. The struggle. That's close enough. Saw himself for the first time. He gave himself his own name and turned his back on the existence he'd been granted by the universe. One by one, Samyaza called out for his brethren, and they bowed to meet him. He was the giver of names, Lord and King. There was to be none before him and none after. So what's interesting about this is it almost plays into that whole the thing with the storm. Like there was the first storm that was caused by someone going into the sweat lodge and they got their staff. But as they were in the sweat lodge, it caused a greater storm. And there are others who would find their own staves within those storms contained within their own sweat lodges. So it's like a whole network of people. But Samyaza was the first. Not that it really matters. It doesn't in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, it almost gave me that energy. Like the elk. It was that whole like the shadow that was cast, and as it looked back towards the heavens, it remembered, which is why I was going to go for that soul retrieval card in the Mystical Shaman the other day. Yesterday. But I didn't. We have Remiel, Angel of Visions, and then Armoros, Angel of Undoing. Footsteps fall upon boundless heels, stretching one by one across the landscape, our journey. See not the darkened slopes that present themselves today. There is light upon the farther side, guiding us onward. And then there's Armoros. Yeah, that's fine. Armoros is just the veil. So I guess if you want to take it a step further, as the orphans, who are the shapeshifters, who literally shapeshift from like Not only do they shapeshift from eagle to hawk, but when they incarnate as elks, girl. Take it if it resonates. If it don't resonate, don't take it. I'm sure there's a metaphor here somewhere. I just don't have the desire to ground it. Okay. The orphan, the shapeshifted orphan that was the child of the king and the queen, who inherently had the power and authority of fire by not even birthright, just whatever. The Disney's Hercules that drank the potion and became mortal but maintained their strength. She's giving whatever that is. Whatever that is, that's what she's giving. Bottom of the deck is the moth again. The moth would be Hercules at the end of the movie, you know, where he did whatever he needed to do to become a true hero. And then again, the metamorph is literally here. I don't know. That's the cards. I feel like there was something else that like co-signed and validated that. Maybe that falls into the recognition of self that has yet to be realized. I don't know. And it's interesting because it's not the counter narrative at all. But, you know, who's on the bottom? I see Muriel, Angel of Cancer. Yeah. Don't ask me. There are 1,000,001. Okay, maybe not literally 1,000,001, but you know. Yeah. Cool. I do want to read the metamorph, I guess. Who this? The Lion, LMNOP. Metamorph. The metamorph will aid you in all your life's transitions from child to adult, from midlife to maturity, and eventually onto your ultimate rite of passage. Inevitably, there will be times when you need to let go of one set of patterns and take on others. Be it home, work, friends, or lovers, change is inevitable. The metamorph will assist your leap into the unknown. He is master of all rites of passage. The oil between the cogs smoothing the wheels is turning, and the cement between the bricks holding the structure firm. Let him direct you when you are unsure. Allow him to take your hand and show you which stepping stone you might next trust to support your weight. The wolf may well be skilled at leading you through the complicated and confusing trails ahead of you, but the metamorph is the one you will need to overcome the fears and anxieties that freeze your will. Again, that Six of Cups being the fear, anxiety that us, that makes it hard for us to self-regulate at the moments where they're triggered. Then we act like little lizards, scattering, looking for shade in the heat or a sign in the cold. Hopefully there's a rock nearby. I guess the rock is the metamorph. Maybe not. Anyway, he is the griffin with feline limbs and eagle's wings who will propel you across the gaping chasm to your next landing. And at the end of your road, he is the kindly concierge who will open the gates of the caravanserai, that garden sanctuary where you can leave behind the burden of your possessions and step into the infinite spaces between stars. That is the thing about Moon Bear that's on the card that I didn't show you. Sanctuary, I guess, is the name of the brand. Moon Bear is the name of the scent. Sanctuary Moon Bear. Thank you for the reminder, because I did not mention it at all. Sanctuary could also be that sweat lodge. Well, in a way, yes. In a way, no. But in a way, yes. Hey, Holly, how you doing? Cool. And we're still not where I want it to be, but now at least the Moon Bear is done, right? No, I still got to put away this other deck. Excuse me. Interesting. So interesting. What does it mean? I don't know. But he is there. The metamorph. They're for all transitions. Cool. Maybe the metamorph is the witness. And then one day the jester turns into a griffin and you're like, oh my gosh, what? Oh, she's low-key giving me like a trickstery type energy. Like it feels like the metamorph could be there. Again, it looked like, or it didn't look like, energetically, it felt like the metamorph pretends like they're gonna follow the path of the inventor, but they actually go with the fatalist. The metamorph is like, or the jester is like, oh yeah, no, girl, I only play stupid, okay? I only play dumb. It's a joke. In real life, I'm gonna make that choice. And you're like, what? I thought we were in this together. That's why I will never be the one on here to sit and tell you, like, oh yeah, the inventor, the lizard, not being able to self-regulate. Oh yeah, girl. Like, let's do that. No. No. I made one joke one time, and the wrong person was there and thought I was serious. And that still kind of haunts me to this day. Like if that person knew anything about me, they would know that I was obviously joking. Woo! Somebody walked away from that interaction thinking something about me. And I'm like, never. I would never. Never would I ever, girl. Obviously. And I was with a friend who obviously knew me, who obviously knew I was joking. And then the person was like, what? Don't let him shame you and blah, 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 whatever. I'm like, girl, it was a joke. It was a joke. I would never. I wouldn't. If my life depended on it, I would make my peace and die that day. You know what I mean? Like, no, absolutely not. Anyway, it's fine. It's fine. Anyway. Yeah, the jester is the metamorph. They're obviously going on the side of the dreamer. Because, like everyone knows that eventually order wins out. I guess everyone, well, not everyone, but I don't know. Anyway, it's fine. People look at what Set did to Osiris and they're like, oh my gosh, did you see what he did to Osiris? He's so powerful or scary or whatever. And it's like, Set will have his day, girl. Don't let Set have y'all out here running around being people who sow chaos and whatever. Because when the Horus rises, y'all bought y'all ticket. You paid in full. Well, then it's like, whoa, but we didn't know. You have a heart, you have a mind, you have a soul. Something within you knew. You could say, oh, we didn't think we get caught, or we didn't think that justice would ever come, or you know what I mean? If I had known that this would happen, then anyway. Anyway. But it feels like the metamorph almost plays that part. But then when the individual, you, we, us, whatever, when we align with the fatalist, that's when the metamorph that's when the jester reveals the truth of their nature. The jester becomes the metamorph that helps us on the other side of this initiation. Like in Percy Jackson, how one of his friends was like a satyr or whatever. So when Percy found out that he was a demigod, his satyr buddy was already there, right? To help guide him to the camp where all of the other demigods were, or whatever type energy. But if Percy would have never found out, his satyr friend would have just been anybody else for all of his life. Just would have been his best friend forever. You know what I mean? The daughters. It's interesting. The daughter of cups and the daughter of swords is at the cut because their mothers are irrelevant. Oh, and then the high priestess is there at the cut now with the daughter of swords. Interesting. The nine of pentacles with the high priestess. But as I'm looking at it, the high priestess is looking at the Knight of Pentacles. But it's like the feathers. There were 2 feathers on Taming the Wind, 2 feathers on the Time Master. The feathers are what the bird sacrificed. And it's interesting because in that game that I was playing, there is someone who is twisted and corrupted, but they have a feather of their spoiler alert companion, and that almost like brings them clarity, and it gives them a realization of what it is that they're actually doing, because before they had that realization, they're so corrupted that they believe that they're in the right. You find out through context that it was an unfortunate someone at some point that was very high up made a choice and decision that this character that the person had to abide by because they were a part of the organization, but it was so against their character and so against their desires that it twisted them. And it's almost like in order to, that was another theme of that game, in order to make peace with what they did, they had to like go and almost become even worse to justify the wrong that they did. And it's almost like it's that point where it never stops, because that which was unjustifiable will always be unjustifiable, right? No matter. And when we try, sometimes when we try to justify the unjustifiable, or when we try to make what was clearly wrong right, it only leads to further wrongs. But anyway, the feather of spoiler alert snaps that character out of it, and then they realize, like, oh my gosh, like, and that realization happens before things are made even worse at that point. But anyway, 5 of Swords and Strength. The Tower with the 5 of Swords. Temperance with the Tower. The 6 of Pentacles with Temperance. The Mother of Pentacles with Temperance. There she is again. Did I say the Mother of Pentacles? I think I did. The Ace of Swords with the Mother of Pentacles. All right. Final card, please. Final card, please. This is going to be a long. It's already been 3 hours. I should timestamp this. Maybe I'll go back and fast forward through it and try to make timestamps. Maybe not. Honestly, probably not. We'll see. All right. Clean flip or clean fall. Anytime you're ready. I am ready. Interesting. The 2 of Cups and the High Priestess. There's this 2-2 energy. The 2 of Cups in this deck in particular, for me, is a mirror. Whatever the 2 of Cups comes out with, it's a mirror to that energy, because there's only one version of each card in the deck. So this is effectively 2 High Priestess energies. What's interesting is the Son of Cups is at the bottom of the deck. Was it not the High Priestess that saw the star quality in the Son of Cups? Was it not the Son of Cups, the High Priestess, and the star? And I think that came out before the Mother of Cups came out, which is interesting because we saw the daughters of the irrelevant mothers. It's the Son. The Son of Cups mirrors this High Priestess. It's not the pre-High Priestess. It's not the Queen of Cups. It's the Son. So interesting. The drama. Is she jelly? Is she mad? See ya, Holly. I guess it skipped her generation. I didn't make the cards. They come out. The Son of Cups is the High Priestess, not the Queen. Which is interesting because the Knight of Cups it's come out in a way of carrying these divine waters that bring life back to stagnant pools, to stagnant sacred pools. But the Son of Cups carries the power of the star within him. Underneath all that, which is also interesting because in the Six of Cups, that same coloration is in the roots. It's in the roots, but it's not in the tree. Which I feel like is significant for some reason. But also, it's in the cup of the Son of Cups. You wouldn't know until the Son of Cups becomes the father that this is a link between Pisces and Scorpio. What's in Scorpio? Is anything in Scorpio? I don't know. It's fine. When the Son of Cups becomes the Father of Cups, you see it. Interesting. The Three of Swords and the Mother of Wands. There she is. And we're just going to put that back. Oof, big oof. I don't know. Take that one as it resonates. I'm sure there's a story there that I'm just not gonna get into. There's some low-hanging fruit that we can just leave on the tree. Finally. Okay. So last but never least, never ever least, the only decks I have left is the Angelarium, Oracle of Emanations, and Oracle of the Fallen, and the Fable Maker's Animated Tarot. I'm already using 2 tarot decks. I feel like 3 tarot the tarot decks is kind of not necessarily pushing it, but I also have the Mystical Shaman that I've only used in terms of like, oh my gosh, like, why were you hiding? What were you up to? Can you hear Chino? Squeak, 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 squeak. Running up and down the hall. It's like a pacifier, squeaky toy. And so sometimes when he has it in his mouth, it looks so cute. He's so adorable. This like muscly dog with like this little blue binky in his mouth. So I know that I want to pull the card after the Shields and the Spirit Keeper's Tarot. The court cards are angels. The pages are strongholds or heralds. Heralds in the Vitruvian edition, Strongholds in the Revelations edition. The knights are the shining ones. The queens are shields, and the kings are archangels. Interesting. We just saw both of these. One of these was in the self-read part. It's the Kindred, the Three of Cups. The other one was in a different part. And it's the Dark Horse, the Seven of Wands. I remember we saw the Dark Horse in the Vitruvian edition, where it was at nighttime. This came out in the Revelations edition, where it's daytime, and you can see that this Seven of Wands is like co-signed by whatever face of divinity that is up there. So maybe it's an interesting way to kick this off. But it's almost like the Dark Horse has a rod or a scepter. The energy behind it has a sword. So it's almost like be grateful you're getting the staff and not the sword. But also almost sort of coming off the hawk that's actually an eagle type energy. This is like real interesting. And then with the Kindred being here, that was almost like the satyr friend, the metamorph, the jester, who's like, when you make the transition or whatever, then the truth of the jester sort of like reveals itself. And it's like, oh my gosh. What's at the bottom? The bottom of the deck is the Herald of the Flame, Awaken the Brilliance. Oh, girl, this is interesting. Because Awaken the Brilliance, it feels like it's almost like channeling whatever this is. It's like when you find out. Like you're this like creative inventor type whatever, and then you find a tie to like Hephaestus or Vulcan or whatever. And you're like, oh my gosh, that's why I love to tinker. Or like I can hold my breath underwater for 10 minutes. Child of Neptune. But this Kindred, it feels like almost going to whatever the High Priestess was that skipped a generation. It skipped the Mother of Cups, but it hit the Son of Cups. There's almost like this way of being that is this Kindred Three of Cups energy. And it's almost like it's like the story, right? Let's say that way back in the day when the worship of deities was different, at least in the Western world. Not to say that those traditions aren't preserved anywhere. But regardless of where you are, back in the day, the first ancestor in your line that was particularly gifted and who commune directly with some face of the divine, meaning God, some god or some goddess, and like curried some kind of favor because like of who they are or what they did. Not necessarily one of those like angel or God in disguise that you took care of and then they reveal themselves and you're like, oh my gosh. And they're like, yes, I will now bless you because you were nice to me. And you didn't know who I was. It's almost like there was something about their heart or their mind or the way they lived. Again, something almost related to the orphan of the king and the queen. But it's like it's in the way you live. So it's almost like there's something about who you are and the way that you live life that is reminiscent of this first ancestor. And it's because of who you are, because of what you do, that you, the Son of Cups, inherits the favor. But the Mother of Cups is like she's a different person. And maybe she would take that gift and turn it into something that it's not meant to be, or would use it for things that it's not meant to be used for. And so that's why it passed her over. But this kindred, it's like something about who the Son of Cups is, or the way that they live life, that follows a line in their ancestry that they could have absolutely no awareness of. Especially if the Mother of Cups didn't inherit, if the Mother of Cups didn't inherit the gift, right? It could have been, for whatever reason, the son never knew. But the High Priestess knows. When the High Priestess looks at the Son of Cups and is like, I see the star in you. I see your shine. You could never darken that light. To the point where I couldn't see it. You know what I mean? If you you could snuff it out, and then at that point, sure. Interesting. Cool. All right. Ooh, Sanctum of Treasures and the Archangel of Mysteries. Hold up. I put the Dark Horse on top of the Ebony Shield. Sanctum of Treasures, the Shield of Earth, and then I was opening the deck to put the Kindred away, and the King of Earth, Archangel of Mysteries, is here. Sanctum of Treasures, angel who illuminates the shadows. Excuse me. See, almost going back to the eagle and the elk. This angel who illuminates the shadows, it feels like she does this like reverse eclipse. I already put the deck away because there was an eclipse in the elk. But it's almost like as she like illuminates the shadows, she uneclipses it. So then it's like that's when you can see the eagle. I'm like, oh my gosh. And again, there was this energy up here. And the Vitruvian edition, it's dark. You can't see. Maybe that's when you have around and find out. Like, oh my gosh, if I had known, then I wouldn't have done whatever. It's like, of course. Anyway. So I know that I'm gonna do after the shield in the wish granted in the healer, giving goddess the star, the healer. That's what the high priestess saw in the Son of Cups. Interesting. See, but that was the thing with the flame, the mentor, and the river. That spark, you can't hide it. Ebony Shield and the Keeper. Welcome to Ice Coffee Chronicles, where I don't know where we're going, but I'll read it. So I know that I want to look after the shields in the Vitruvian edition. And I know that I want to look before and after the card after in the Revelations edition. I don't know if I'm going to look before the card in the Vitruvian edition. And if I do, I don't know what it'll symbolize. I could do it where it symbolizes the challenge. And that could be like the center pillar of a threefold challenge. If I use the Fable Maker's Animated Tarot. I also wanted to pull, so in the SKT, the Chariot has the 4 cardinal signs, the Temperance, the Angel, has the 4 mutable signs, and the World has the 4 fixed signs like it does in the Rider-Waite. And so I wanted to, the Magician also has all 4 elements on it. So I wanted to pull before and after one of those as like an overarching whatever. The problem is this is general and it's not specific. You know what I mean? So because it's general and collective, it's going to be different for everybody. Because I could do it in a way where it's like, because major arcana don't come with challenges, if a major arcana comes before a shield, then it's innate, inherent. There's nothing that had to be done to acquire the power and authority of whatever, or to curry the favor of the shield that has that power and authority. And then if there is a challenge, then there's something that like we earn it in some way, shape, or form. Even if it's like a Pentacles card where we just receive it, you know? Um, but again, this is collective, so. And I'm looking for all four of them and not just one. Maybe I should have did this before. It's fine. How am I gonna do this? I could do it that way. I could almost make this its own video. It took 3 hours, 21 minutes, and 45 seconds. 3, 2, 1, 4, 5. To get to the thing that I actually intended on doing when I came live. Before I was like, oh my gosh, mystical shaman oracle cards, moon bear. So Trey and Moonbear and Trey. Trey is the third, and there were 3 elements that came out twice. We saw fire, water, and taming the wind. And then we saw the Mother of Cups, the Mother of Swords, and the Mother of Pentacles. And then there was the Circle and the Council with the Luminous Warrior, which could be like 3 aspects. Because there was like, again, up to this point, every time the energy came out, it's without prying into it or digging any deeper, it was pseudo assumed to be like one aspect of the divine that was co-signing or whatever. But with the circle and the council, it was like, oh, somebody could have like multiple aspects of divinity that are all co-signing. And it's like power and authority of fire, got it. Power and authority of air, got it. Power and authority of earth, it's yours. You could be the lineage of, you could just have a line of like, there was a king of air that got together with the king of fire, and that was your mother's parents. And then on, did I say 2 kings? There could be a king of air and a queen of fire that got together, and those were your mother's parents, and then a queen of earth and a king of water that were your father's parents. So in your lineage, you have ancestral access to all 4 elements, you know. I don't know, or whatever, be it ancestral in a physical line or ancestral in a spiritual line, if you don't necessarily incarnate into the same family every single time. You know what I mean? How would that work? Don't worry about it. We do see the angel. She was the final card last time. She's got our 4 elements on it. I just want one card to see what all 4 elements are going to be. So it's interesting if it'll be the Chariot, the angel or the New World Order or the magician, the magus. Maybe that will reveal something in and of itself, and then I'll look before and after that. I'm gonna pull. I think I am gonna do that. Which means that I need to grab this deck and shuffle it. Which also means that this video is gonna at least probably be another 2 hours long. Ooh. Imagine if like I just like buffered at some point hours ago and I didn't even know. Now I just heard from Holly recently, so I know that that's not the case, but still. Imagine all the people. Ew, I'd rather not. If I'm gonna imagine anything, I'd rather imagine dragons. You know what I mean? Oh gosh, I need to stop. Oh, the Emperor. Or was that the King of Wands? The 3 of Wands. There was a... It's fine. It's fine. It's irrelevant. Now is not the time to be distracted by idle mind chatter. But maybe it's relevant. Maybe it's like a synchronicity or something. You know? Ooh, the Hierophant and the Hermit. After I was literally just talking about that like yesterday. How the Hermit takes the light of the Hierophant inside. But at some point, the Hermit needs to take up its own light. The light of the Hierophant only reveals so much. The light of, like, the Hierophant is intended to get someone to the doors of the divine. And, or to like, the Hierophant is the liaison between man and the divine. It'll like coordinate schedules and stuff like that, and it'll pass notes back and forth, but eventually it's supposed to lead you to the divine itself. Good Hierophant energy. What Hierophant energy is designed to do is to be your introduction, your Divinity 101. But then you develop your own relationship, and you don't need the Hierophant in the same ways anymore. Right? Not necessarily what the Hierophant has become, maybe intentionally, maybe because of necessity. Who was that? Knight of Wands? Knight of Wands and the 4 of Wands. See, there's that 4 of Wands. When I told y'all earlier, with the, what was it? The 2 of Wands, the Lovers, the 4 of Wands, and then the 6 of Wands. That is Venus and Aries, baby. I think. Sure. The 4 of Wands is Venus and Aries. The 6 of Pentacles is Moon and Taurus. And I think that's all my placements. Maybe not. Because I have Jupiter in Libra. I can't remember if that's one of the cards or not. Cool. So I have these shuffled. I'm going to keep them as they are. I may shuffle them when I pick them up. I may not. Excuse me. So I'm going to pull before and after the... So in the Vitruvian edition, I'm going to pull before and after the shields. That's the Ebony Shield, the Ivory Shield, the Scarlet Shield, and the Golden Shield. Power and authority of Earth, Water, Air, and Fire, I believe. And then for the card after the shield, I'm going to pull before and after that card in the Revelations edition. For the card before the shield, I'm going to pull before and after that card in the Fablemakers Animated Tarot. If it's a major arcana, then there is no deck dungeon challenge. If it's a minor arcana, then there will be. And the card before and after will inform that challenge in some way. Yeah, and that's what we're going to do. If it's a major, then it's not going to be a challenge, but maybe it'll be like ways that the favor is carried. Again, this is very lofty. You could say ungrounded. I feel like I've never claimed to be a Pisces more than I am right now that the North Node is slowly creeping towards Pisces. I need to look at transits. Like I said recently, the North Node has been in my 12th house since Taurus. And it's going to be I think it's at around maybe 13 degrees. So like 2/3 of the North Node's transit in Pisces. It's still going to be in my 12th house, but it's going to be emerging into the 11th house. Maybe it's part of that emergence where I'm like, you know what? I'll leave reading to the people whose purpose it is to read. Leave it to the readers. Yeah, anyway, we'll see. I just thought of one of my friends and a comment they made. That's why I was like, anyway, maybe I need to breathe. Maybe I need to ground. I kind of want to just like sit here for a minute. Maybe I will. I'll just sit here for a minute. And I was gonna say a quiet reflection, but I'm gonna scroll on my phone. The food was done like 2 hours ago. Cold now. Today is Monday. Wow. Wow. Whew, excuse me. Yeah. Let's flip a coin. I was gonna do something else, but it's fine. I'm just trying to squeeze every ounce of desire I have to do this out before 2025. I'm kidding. Hey, Google, flip a coin. Tails. Almost looks like a boat. I was thinking tails, but I didn't come up with a thing, you know? I don't know. I don't necessarily want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. But for some reason, I want to just like chill for a minute before I do this. I have something I can drink. Give me a moment. I finished my iced coffee ages ago. Now there is a half tea, half lemonade with my name on it. What's my name? Oh no! Oh no! One of the Fable Maker's tarot cards jumped ship. I see the Page of Chalices and Strength. Interesting. The Page of Chalices and Strength as I try to go get me something to drink. Maybe those cards wanted to reveal themselves. Reveal yourself. There's like barely anything in here because I drank most of it before I had the iced coffee. All right, are we ready? I guess so. Is one ever truly ready? Sure. Excuse me. Okay, let's do this. I'll timestamp it now. I'll timestamp this one. what do I call this? Elemental authority? Elemental authority. It was like 335, I think. I'll do 335.30. And then we'll go Moon Bear Sanctuary. And then there was where the Shaman been. And that should be it, right? And then it'll be final cards, I guess. 335.35. Interesting. Cool. So, all right. I'm going to take these off the table, but I put them here. These two cards fell when I went to go get my beverage that is already gone. Already gone. Excuse me. So again, just to recap. I guess if you follow the timestamp, then yesterday I went live and the Power and Authority of Fire came out. Some orphan of the King and Queen had it. And now we're going to see about all of them. This is collective. It is general. Take it as it resonates. If it resonates, and if it don't resonate, don't take it. Just because you want it to be yours or you want it to resonate, desire and manifestation can get us a lot of things. But at the end of the day, the truth is the truth. And unless it is your delusional Neptunian power to convince yourself and so much that the world agrees. I don't know, anyway. And I feel like that in and of itself, it's almost a catch-22 in terms of what it is that we choose and believe and what it is that is like reality. Our choices, our perceptions, perspectives influence reality. But sometimes other things like went out. You know what I mean? Oh my gosh. One of my college faves just posted. I don't know why I loved her. Hold up, wait. You're not. Never mind. False alarm. False alarm. I thought one of my faves had posted. She didn't. I don't know why I'm just like such a fan of hers. There are some people that I just appreciate so much. I'm like, interesting. Stronghold of the Grail came out, which is the Page of Cups. The Page of Cups fell out with strength. But at the cut is the Stronghold of the Veil. The strongholds of earth and water have emerged at the cut. Interesting. I am looking for specific cards. So anything that flips over, I think that's how I did it last time. If it flips over, it's relevant. If it falls out, it's not. Sometimes the fact that something isn't relevant gives some kind of a illumination into a situation. Obviously, that's how I interpret it because that's how it's gone with the cards here lately. All right, we'll do one more. And a cut, nothing flipped or fell. Every card is in play. Bottom of the deck is the Stronghold of the Zephyrs. What's up with all the Strongholds pages popping up? Oh, we got our first one. Okay, cool. Herald of the Consummating. Right under that is the Ebony Shield, Power and Authority of Earth. After it is the Hollow Void. Interestingly enough, Power and Authority of Earth is a Hollow Void. I feel like there's a little oof there, you know what I mean? Especially for it to be like come out with the Page of Swords. But The universe is mental. All is the mind. It's almost like the perception informs reality, right? So the stronghold, the messenger of air, informs this. Cool. I didn't even get to do the bottom three. The burdened one, 10 of wands, with the golden shield, power and authority of fire, and the seeker. I love that we get the 10 of wands coming out before the golden shield. This feels like we have to make it through the entire suit of wands here. So at that point, it's like, effort that has been seen. Is this our first? The chariot comes out after the seeker. I had a feeling it would be the chariot because of one of the cards we saw earlier today. I just got to check and make sure because I forgot that I was looking for these, honestly. Yeah, that's our first. The chariot has the 4 cardinal signs on it. Luke's at Veritas, light and truth. You see the cardinal signs. Cool. So before was the seeker, after is the tower. Interesting. With the axe of Shiva that removes corruption. We see these snakes on the magician. Now, if I would have taken this how I take it sometimes, the title card was on the other side. But that would have been like in the hole left by the power and authority of fire. Interesting. The journeyman, again with the living wand, comes out before the scarlet shield, power and authority of air. Let me set you here. So I can set this here. And after is the kindred that we've already seen. And that leaves just my BTFUS 2FU Mind Your Business Queen, the Ivory Shield. The Empress. The Ivory Shield. And the Warrior, which is so interesting. Because the Warrior was a significator the last time I used this deck, for the last ICC. We have the Destroyer and the Demon. The Demon Destroyer. Not surprised, because again, we have the Tower after. Oh my gosh! The Tower and the Chariot. They're my birth cards. LOL. 716, 7/7. Not surprised, because we have the Axe of Shiva that removes corruption. We see the snakes. The tail of the Typhon, and the Destroyer. Cool. Love it. Also, we just had the Warrior, so, Now, all of these have challenges associated with them besides the power and authority of water. That is the only one that came out with the major arcana card. And it was the Empress. And it's interesting because the Empress just came out to be disregarded for the Moon Bear. Now, the power and authority of air has the journeyman. So there's this interesting connection between earth and air. The trial, the test for the power and authority of earth is the page of air, stronghold of the Zephyrs. The trial for the Scarlet Shield, power and authority of air, is the Eight of Pentacles, the journeyman. So if the power and authority of earth defers to the judgment of the power and authority of air, I guess it would make sense that the trial challenge for the power and authority of air would involve earth in some way. What's interesting is, though, after the Queen of Pentacles is the Four of Cups. After the Queen of Swords is the Three of Cups. So those are the two minors. After the Queen of Wands is the Fool, the Seeker. After the Queen of Cups is the Warrior, the Sun. Before the Queen of Wands is the Ten of Wands. Again, it makes sense. Before the Queen of Cups is the Empress. Which is interesting. Again, because we literally just saw it was the Queen, the Mother of Cups, the Mother of Swords, and the Empress that came out to be disregarded for the Moon Bear, specifically when looking before and after the moon. And it came out in a way that was, hey, how you doing? It came out in a way that was very like, it doesn't matter what we intuit, what we manifest, how we align ourselves, if when it comes down to it, we don't make the actual choices and decisions that are required to go down the path that we want. If our trauma, our fear, our anxiety or worry will keep us from making the choices and decisions to actually go down that path, down those paths. And again, it came out after the bear was the lizard. It's because of a lack of an ability to self-regulate. It's because of a dependence upon our environment that it makes it infinitely more challenging to go into scary, dark, unfamiliar, unknown places. Right? To be reliant and dependent upon one's environment and not know what the environment is that they're moving into, that we're moving into, is to, again, it's like, what if it gets hot and there's no shade, or cold and there's no sun? Like, I could freeze, I could burn. Either way, like, it's not looking good for me. Versus the self-regulation of the fatalist, the dreamer, the fatalist, and the survivor. Like, no matter what happens, the fatalist knows that they're going to survive. Cool. Let's just get into these. So I'm looking before and after the Four of Cups, the Seeker, the Three of Cups, and the Warrior. I've already shuffled these, so I'm just gonna go looking. So in this deck, the first card we see is the Magician that has all four elements, and it's between the High Priestess and the World. There's another one of the cards with all four elements. After the World is the Destroyer. New World Order and the Destroyer. Again, this is the Destroyer.